am live for Face.2.FACE, and we are covering the show now in a second stream because the first one did not work, and I'm about to post this on Facebook. So give me a second, bear with me, because today we have a hot topic discussion, and we're going to get back to that in just a second. So allow me a moment to post this. Cynthia, if you happen to have any dates, Cynthia Frazier is with us all the way from California. And if you have anything you'd like to share, let me know, or you can just say it while I'm doing this really quick. I'm going to be back momentarily as I go to Facebook, and I drop these links on Facebook now.
Hello.
Where'd she go? Where'd she go? Where'd everything go?
Outside.
Guitar practice.
Who is it?
That's CAIRO.
Who's that?
She's a friend of mine.
We
We can't see you though. You lost your video.
We have to do the.
I put it on picture really quick.
Oh, okay.
I'm still doing the we're actually recording, but I just put the video on. But I'm here though. I was just saying I put it on hold for a second so I can post these links so people can join. It's 8:30 now.
Well, you know, can't you start the recording at will?
Oh, I already started it.
I know, but you know what? I think because that happened last time too, where it was recording really during our little green room session. So it's like, okay, we need time to green room, you know, get prepared, and then start the recording.
What is going on here? Okay, well, I'm going to start talking because I know I am on camera and it is recording, and I already put this link in. There it goes. Okay, great. Now, let me tag everybody. Greg. Okay, I'm inviting Greg Greenlee. Farries. LaDonna. Lazone. And I don't know who else, but I'm going to leave it at that. All right.
Those two songs.
Let's hope they can join.
The B, A, B, or F, whatever, and the
All right, that worked out. Okay, now let me come back to the camera and take me off of. Oh Lord, lost the screen. Where is it? Are you serious? Where is it? Oh, okay, I think that's it right there. Found it! Okay, good. Alrighty. Now, it does say stop broadcast. I wonder would that stop, but it'd still be on the same video. Because it'd probably just pause it. Okay. I look like I've been in the sun. I was only in the sun for like an hour. Okay, Cynthia, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, fantastic. Thank you for joining me. This is CAIRO QWEEN on Face.2.FACE, and we are here for the huge topic of finding the face of African Americans in technology. Finding the face of African Americans in technology. And that is where we are today, because this week huge things have happened, which I don't think a lot of people understood what impact this week actually had in our history for technology. And I'm just going to say it like this. A few months ago, I told people to pay attention because Jesse Jackson went to Silicon Valley and created a protest and started to tell people, well, hey, there's not enough African Americans in technology. And of course, we knew that already. And I was like, what is he doing? I even think it's on one of my videos when I said, pay attention to Jesse Jackson. Okay, so here we are a couple months later. Now, Google comes out after doing their demographic search, and they say, well, they got to increase their diversity because, yeah, they do have other nationalities that are there, but they are missing African Americans by huge numbers. And so what has been reflected is that the number of people, and I can't quote it off the top of my head, I have to pull up the article, but the number of people who are actually employed by Google, which is one of the nation's best companies to work for and the #1 tech company in America right now, they only have a very small number of African Americans employed there, and I'm going to say under 5% if I'm not mistaken. And so to go further into the details of what ended up happening is more people were doing more research as to how many people are actually involved in technology from the standpoint of, I guess, the Silicon Valley area, because of course we know people like Cynthia have actually been engaged in technology for years, but where we are right now, where Silicon Valley sits, they show that we have a reflection of only 9% African American activity or involvement, engagement in technology. And so I wanted to get this out in the open and speak about it, make sure people had a conversation with me about it, make sure that we can continue to have dialogues about this, because this is what I do this for. Because I know for a fact that a lot of this has to do with flat out awareness. Yes, we are aware that technology exists. Yes, we are aware that we purchase it and consume it and we utilize it. I actually ended up having almost an argument with somebody about this who I actually invited on, so I hope he does join. But we're aware of technology, and we know that it works, and we know, to some degree of how it works. We are not engaged in technology. So from the industry standpoint, we're not producers of technology. And then our academia is not reflecting that we have a remote interest in technology, because the numbers of people who are employed by these corporations, now that's going to be the part where we're going to have to probably have a dialogue, but the numbers of people that are employed by these corporations on a real level, they're not good numbers, and they're not even remotely fair numbers. And so what it's saying is that we don't have enough African Americans educated in technology or in any type of technology field to where that they can compete for jobs. That's basically what they're saying. So now actively Google is going to do a little, I guess, affirmative action for, employing African Americans to make sure they do have a population of African Americans in there. So they said that they would actually try a lot harder, and they're going to expand that diversity. So I'm getting in there some kind of way. But anyway, Cynthia, what do you think about this? This week, our mayor actually came back from Silicon Valley, and I think I've mentioned several times, I'll mention it again, but our mayor comes back from Silicon Valley this week, gets on our tech show here, and he says, well, hey, we're getting ready to try to make Atlanta the #2 place for tech. We're going to open it up as an Atlanta tech hub. And I always thought this is the perfect place to do this at. Why not? You have Georgia Tech here. They're saying, well, Georgia doesn't have the infrastructure for tech. And he comes back and says, well, he goes to Silicon Valley and they'll put money in your pocket just because they know you have a tech idea and they like it, without having to pre-qualify for everything. Now, in Georgia, they don't do that. So, and he made that point on the video. I'm actually tempted to pull it up and run it on this episode. So what is your feedback on that, Cynthia? Cynthia from California, Tech Divas Uncorked.
Woohoo! Yeah, I'm like everybody else on this one. I was listening to the news stories and the statistics. I think it's like any other field. If you look historically at the journey of African Americans and what we had to go through, I think it stands to reason that we are where we are with the tech. But I also have a huge optimism that we are going to catch up very, very quickly on this one. So, initially back in, if you go back to the industrial age, And then the civil rights movement, we were really fighting for access. You know, we wanted access to eat at the lunch counters. We wanted access to shop where everybody else was shopping. And we kind of got stuck there. You know, the honorable field for us back then was education. And a lot of us were pushed to become educators, and we did. We have a large number of African Americans, I think, or at least we did have in the education field. But you know, this train is moving very rapidly. And one thing that we know based on other stories that unfold, nothing is in a vacuum anymore. I think there was a time when, you know, statistics and information was slow to get out. Some things remained in the vacuum. Some things we just probably never found out about. But that is not going to happen today. And so now all eyes are on what's happening in the tech industry. But I also want to say there are different levels of entry and different levels of tech engagement. So
Yes.
obviously, you know, the level that Jesse Jackson is focused on, I guess, because I didn't really see his story, so I'll have to go research that out and read about it. But it sounds like it was about getting more tech employees.
Correct.
From my standpoint, your standpoint, and what we talk about a lot is engaging more innovators, inventors, startups. So that's a different level of engagement, and we need it from, you know, from all levels for sure.
Absolutely. I feel like, you know, and like I said, I want to play devil's advocate here because I know that we're saying, you know, that they're not hiring, but then my question is, I mean, just in my own personal experience, how many of us are actively engaged in a knowledgeable working, you know, ability to be in the tech industry? And I'm saying that only because I know for a fact we have plenty of trained people who can work in the industry, but then, you know, the numbers of people who I speak to who have absolutely no clue, you know, and then I wonder, like, who's applying for jobs? Because I've spoken to several people who at some point used to be in tech, you know, and because they couldn't find a job before, they haven't searched for one, and they're outdated right now. So their skill base is not where it used to be, and they haven't been re-educating or continuously educating themselves in technology going forward. They're still, you know, of course, amused by it, but I mean, I have my best friends. I have one that just went back to school. He's in his second year again. He started over from scratch, going back to college with a college degree, to go back into tech. I did that myself. I didn't finish in the engineering field, but you know, I have a friend that is a literal aeronautical genius. He is a rocket scientist, and he's actually not employed. So, you know, and very intelligent man, very well versed in technology. He kind of just doesn't have the passion for it. Um, Several people I know that are musicians, you know, they don't have jobs in tech, you know, because they started back in the 80s when tech had just, you know, was popular before. And they don't feel like they're, you know, up to speed with what is going on in tech nowadays. And of course, technology changes absolutely every day. So we are up against this clock of everyday changes. So very interesting.
Yeah, definitely. You know, the rapid change doesn't help, I think, in the sense that a lot of people that I've spoken to find it difficult to keep up with the changes. That's one of the frustrations. But also the interest. You know, like you said, it does have to be a passion within the individual. I don't think you can just take anyone and thrust them into that environment without the passion or the desire to be a part of the tech industry. So that's very important as well to add to the mix. But I think we're going to get there. I really do. I think we're just at the baby stage right now, and I think we'll definitely see rapid change very quickly because we're talking about a global market here.
Oh yeah, I think that this had to happen. Like, this is something that I have been waiting to happen for a while because I knew it was coming. Somebody was going to have to say, listen, we now recognize that the people who purchase the most technology aren't even here. They're not even in the office anywhere. So I think what this did this week is it now is going to make a statement to a lot of people. Well, hey, these are your number one consumers of technology, and now you have to get them up to speed, even though I truly believe that it is upon the person themselves. But I think the engagement is where we need to start at, is trying to get people actively engaged with wanting to be a part of the technology community. Because I think that is a huge hindrance from where we stand right now, which is trying to just get people interested in it. Because a lot of people will say, like we say, I think every episode that I've had thus far, well, that's for kids, or that's too hard, or that's not, something I'm into, But then I'd have to explain to people everything you're into deals with technology. Everything from your church to your household deals with technology. You don't even realize that. In order for your pastor to deliver a message, he has to use some sort of technology to a larger congregation, even for your choir to sing. The music that's being played. I think Farries Maxwell will tell you, if you ever play music, that actually has to deal with technology. And Farries is a tech wearable designer who is also African American out of New York and Chicago. So things that aren't recognized, African American tech wearable designers. So, I think we are out here. There are people out here. And I think what's very important is I'm starting to notice the more people who are trumpeting technology are people who are not actually involved in technology, people who have an interest in it, which I think is important, because I think if each one could reach one, we'd be doing really well. And so to have that type of impact and get people actively engaged in technology, and to say, okay, well, this is significant because your children, yes, but you right now are dealing with technology, or needing to deal with technology, and are about to be blown over by technology if you don't pay attention to me. And then make it to a point where it overrides your Atlanta Housewives. What is it that the Atlanta Housewives has that is not seen in the wave of technology? Why is it that can keep your attention and this can't, when this actually is something that is impacting your life right now and will forever impact your life way more than that show will? And yes, that show is entertaining, and so that's a whole nother thing I think we have to talk about, is making things entertaining. Today they had will.i.am on Bloomberg TV, because of course will.i.am is now what do they call him, the CIO? Is it CIO? But he's been made a head chief of a 3D printing company. And, that's interesting because I believe it's the chief engagement officer. No, chief something. Anyway, but he's been made a high-level chief for a huge company that's come up with 3D printing. And of course, his last video that he's done, you can now see the actual 3D printer in the video and some technology components. But what I think is lacking in technology is music about technology. Music that is actually going to come out and get people's attention and say, okay, well, this is cool, but it is even more cool because this is where the bread is. This is where the money's coming from. But not only that, your future is heavily impacted here. So it's not just that it's about money, but your future and the future of everybody is in technology. So from doctors to medicine to, and I can't even think. Can you think of one industry that wouldn't be impacted by technology in the future?
No.
I can't either.
No. I mean, everything that we touch every day is impacted in some way by technology, either in the development phase or the delivery phase. I can't think of anything anymore that's not touched by technology in some way, other than maybe, face-to-face communication. A lot of people still see that as unencumbered by technology, but in terms of how we live our lives, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe your core essentials like family, love, romance, childbirth, those, and even childbirth. I can't even say that that's not going to be impacted by technology, but I think those essential things, maybe yes. Your spirituality, yes. But as far as everything else, I think everything, and I could probably name a few things that are going to transition in technology or in the wave of technology that people are going to need to pay attention to. And I think it's extremely imperative that people understand that this is happening now. This is not happening in the future. And this week I'm going to be doing the Futurist Week so that people can see the things of the future that are happening absolutely right now. I think it's imperative that we do that. Okay. Thank you, John Wesley Scales. John Wesley Scales paying attention. He is actually an aide to a senator. Alrighty. Will I Am is the Chief Creative Officer for Printing Manufacturer. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. That was Steve Bird. There are people watching and tuning in. This is, I think, like I said, it's a big topic. This is something that has to be spoken about. If you would like to join the Google Hangout and you're watching now, inbox me your email address and I will add you to the Google Hangout because, like I said, this is imperative. Our mayor this week, like I said, he goes to Silicon Valley and comes back from Silicon Valley back to Atlanta. And this is Mayor Kasim Reed for Atlanta, Georgia, and won me over entirely. And I will say this on camera, I literally dogged him out because of the way he handled the weather in the winter. I did. But I am here to say that Kasim Reed has now won me over because he finally came out and I say because of all the other politicians I've spoken to, he came out and he said something that actually sounded right about what we should be doing in technology, which is making Atlanta a tech hub. This is it, and the reason I say this, Atlanta has huge space, lots of land spaces wide open and empty. Yes, preserve the trees, I'm with that. But you have all these empty buildings here. We have tons of buildings. They build every day. Atlanta's actual logo is open because they're open something every single day in Atlanta. And they stay empty. I'm like, why not? Put technology centers, technology hubs, technology outlets, Wi-Fi communities. Why not put all that stuff in those empty spaces? If you have a community that is in need of jobs, the best thing for us to do right now is to start to educate these people in technology so that they won't be like that for long and we'll have futures. Because what we could do here is use all those facilities and put people who are unemployed there and turn Atlanta into a tech center where we can now reestablish what is being done in technology via, get this, old, outdated websites. That's just a jump. That's one start. One start. I have many more. We could do all sorts of work here in Atlanta. And I'm not saying to take away from Silicon Valley or to make Atlanta Silicon Valley because it's not going to happen. But what we can do is bring corporations here and build corporations that are here for a better economic development for the city of Atlanta, for the state of Georgia, for the southern region, for the southeast. I am so excited about this, and I think it probably is being conveyed in my voice. I just think this is awesome, and I think it presents a brand new opportunity, but mainly because Atlanta has 59% African American population, which is one of the largest in the nation, if not the largest, of African Americans concentrated in one location. Why not do it here?
Well, I think what you're saying could reverb across the United States. Definitely kudos to your mayor and his vision for making Atlanta a tech hub. And I think it could happen anywhere. But the big question mark comes up as how are we going to pay for it? And that's where politics is such a critical piece of this, because in the past, cities could rely on CDBG funds, which was federal funds through the Housing Authority, to redevelop communities, and those funds have pretty much dried up now. So, yes, people need to get behind his vision, but they also need to get behind those politicians that share that vision and have what it takes to put the funds behind the vision, because without the funds, it's clearly just, a pipe dream.
Oh, absolutely. I think, and funny thing, I've actually thought about that too, because I know that there is an issue with tax money, and how we have fair taxes as opposed to everything else going on in this country. And I think to myself, okay, what are some things that are dysfunctional right now? And I'm not going to name those things here because I'm not into taking political sides in public, but I will hit somebody across the head with something. But to really, just look at the things that are really kind of, and I don't want to say dead weight, but some of the things that are really not helping our country. And there are plenty of them out there, because I think what we call those pork options, something like that. So we have so many different things that are of less resource than what technology and the education of technology could be. Our education system, one thing that could be revamped via technology, because my thought is, with the implementation of technology and let's say distance learning, as opposed to full days of school, is there a way that we can create a way for children to learn from home? And I know that impedes on parenting and parents having to be in the home, but is there a way to handle that without having to ship people from one location to the next? I mean, I understand that, children need to play together and connect with each other, but I'm just thinking, like, is there a way to pork barrel projects? That's exactly what I was thinking. But is there a way for, us to not have to utilize those big buildings all the time? And I know they started downsizing school weeks and things like that. And I think about how they always talk about they're fighting to preserve energy and conserve energy, where they don't have to turn on electricity, and they don't have to turn on the heat in the summer, and so they'll stop and change the school dates. Well, okay, now we have new things going on where we now have this snow slide that took Snowmageddon that took over some of our regions, and now have knocked the school year into a longer time frame. So of course they're going to have more time in school, and I just question, like, the way that school has been, education system period, has been functionally been dealt with. And I know that's a huge topic way beyond technology, but I think that there are other options that need to be looked at as far as what technology frees up as opposed to what is utilizing, or what is being utilized right now, resources. And I mean, there's so much that we could go and work on and shuffle money around. And I think where I look and I see where we don't have politicians that'll be there for votes, and they don't want to talk about certain things, and they'll pass on various other things, I think it's interesting. And I think that there's something that needs to be done now as opposed to later.
Well, definitely education is changing, and you and I have talked about this a number of times on your face-to-face hangouts now with the Common Core coming in. So, when we're looking at engaging more African Americans into technology, we do have to start to kind of segment our population. If we're talking about youth, they stand probably the biggest chance because they're growing up with the technology. So even though right now they may not be as engaged on the development side, but they will. You and I talked about it, almost had not a debate because we haven't really debated yet, but we talked about it when you talked about every student should learn coding, and I said, well, I don't think they should. So you guys have to listen to the last hangout to get that little tete-a-tete there. But, at least they are growing up with the technology, so they will see it differently than, let's say, their parents and grandparents. So if we're talking about engaging people right now in Silicon Valley, that's a whole different kind of discussion, because that really goes back to the economics of Silicon Valley and finding the investors to get behind African American inventors. And, up until now, I think a lot of our top money people in the African American.
What just happened? Hold on, Cynthia. Hold on 1 second. Okay, Cynthia, can you hear me? And we're having a typo or a glitch of some sort. Okay, so Maxwell Farries just told me that he is on the Google Hangout. I'm going to close down Facebook really quickly because I think it's interfering with my feed. And Maxwell, you said that you are typing messages to me on Facebook. If you can hear me now, can you leave a message? Let's see. This should actually pop up. Not really sure why it's not. No, that's not the one I want. I can't hear Cynthia at all. Cynthia, can you hear me? All right. Okay, she's going to pop out and pop back in. I can't hear. I don't know if anyone can hear me. I just shut down. I know what I need to shut down. Might need to do. Oh no, that's not even open. Strange. All right, well, let's close this. See if that'll help. Here's a tip for the day. Don't do Google Hangout with a bunch of tabs open. It'll interfere with your feed. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe I need to reset. I have no idea what's going on here. All right, well, I'm going to keep talking as if you can hear me. I'm going to open up something here, and if anybody can hear me, I need to get a message from you now. If anybody can still hear me right now, please send me a message in Facebook. Steve, if you're listening, anybody, if you can hear me, please leave a message. Because I have no way of telling if I can be heard or not. And I'm not really sure what's going on with Google. So I don't know if I need to reset it or what. But gee whiz, every time I do a Google Hangout. And I did tutorials this time. What's up with that? I'm going to send it love, and it's going to fix on its own. Of course you want to do this on a really important topic, right? You got to love technology, though. It's always going to get you. Okay, I just need to know if anybody can see me. Can you please let it open up? Oh, okay, you can hear me fine. Yay! Back in business. All right, now I'm closing out Facebook. Okay. Maxwell said he can hear me. Hi, Maxwell Farries. I just gave you a plug. I wanted to tell everybody that you are a tech wearable. Okay, Cynthia says she rejoined. Cynthia, when you can hear me, say something. And Steve said he can hear us. Yeah, I can't see the feedback, Maxwell. It's not coming in on the computer screen. I'm going to open up this other chat here, and I'm going to see if... I'm going to make Maxwell my producer. Cynthia, I don't see you on, and I don't see anybody talking to me. Okay. I'm still on, Deanna. This is just annoying to me. I'm going to keep talking as if, though. So if anybody wants to join, of course, like I said, send your inbox email to me. You said don't close out Facebook. Okay, I won't close out Facebook, Maxwell, since, we're talking. It says I'm the only one in the Hangout. Wow, how is that possible? That's weird. I don't even see you, Cynthia. Okay, I don't see you at all. All right. Well, I'm going to continue with this digest. Let's read some of these comments from Steve Bird and from Maxwell Farries. And I know I saw a comment from Mr. Sanders here somewhere. I don't know where it went. I'll go back and find it in a moment. So, all right. Yes, okay, so Steve said virtual schools. Now, I wasn't going to say that because I wasn't really sure how in-depth we would have to go to talk about virtual schools, but you know what? I absolutely agree with you. Back when I was in college, we spoke about distance learning. That sucks, Cynthia. Cynthia said, I think we're on different frequencies. That's so weird. Okay, that's bizarre. Oh, I know why. Let me re-invite her via email because I think she's using the other link. Let's try that. Again, if anyone wants to join, Fairies, if you're interested in getting on with me, let me know. I'm sorry about this, everyone. Bear with me for a second. You know, I always have these glitches for some reason every time we do a Google Hangout, and I'm not really sure why. But the cool thing is you get to learn with me, which is my platform. Learn with me as I go through all these glitches. That way, when you do your Google Hangouts, you won't have these problems because you can watch all of mine and you know how to circumvent them. There we go, Cynthia Frazier. Let's see if we can get Cynthia Frazier on. Wonder whatever happened to Greg Greenlee. Greg Greenlee was trying to get on, and I don't know whatever happened to him. All right. Well, anyway, so clearly I'm not going to get off at 9:30. It says invitation posted. Okay. Well, I sent some more out to people. See what happens this time. Alrighty, Cynthia. Right. Right, Cynthia. The link that you see on my Facebook page is the one that goes to actual YouTube, to watch via YouTube. But, okay, I'm going to invite Maxwell also again. But the one that I just sent to you should go to your email box and it should say join the conference or join the hangout. That's the one that you want to click on. And this is Farries, Cousin Farries. There we go. All right. All right. So, Farries, I just sent one to you also. Anyone else want to join? We can kick this baby into high gear. Okay, now, Steve, let's go back to virtual schools. Okay, school buildings, 19th century. Virtual schools, 21st century. You're absolutely correct. How did I get 13 messages over here? Wow. Okay, well, great. So, yes, I agree with you 100%. I've tried to figure out why the school of the future is still in a building. I don't see why that's even efficient. And I understand the need to conjugate, and I understand because I believe that when I went to college, that was a social experience. So, you know, you go and you learn how to interact with people. And the same thing you do in high school, same thing you do in elementary. I think children, and it's funny though, because homeschooled children are not children that are disconnected in any way. It's just very interesting. I think it has a lot to do with the level of engagement of the parent whenever they're teaching. And of course, you know, to be able to actively get them social outside of the education system. And who has just joined me? I have to sit. I cannot talk. Probably from all these bumbling things. I see Cynthia. Okay, yay! All right, so Cynthia's joined us again. Cynthia Frazier. I'm sure she'll come back in just a second. But yes, so Steve, you're absolutely correct. I agree with the concept of virtual schooling. I'm just not sure how it would be done. I know that it's a possibility, given that I've taken online classes. I'm not really sure. Oh, hey, LaDonna. So LaDonna Jacey just joined us. And I'm not really sure exactly how virtual schools would actually be applied to this situation, especially where small children are concerned. But I just know there's got to be a better way for education. It's got to be.
Well, CAIRO, let me tell you that the California Virtual Academy, I believe they are about 12 years old, and it is a K-12 online school. They've been around. They started in California, but I believe now they're in a number of other states as well. So this is not new. It's, you know, it's a little bit new to some of our communities, but if you look up CAVA or K-12, you'll find all the history on this virtual academy. and it's a charter public school. They will send
Beautiful.
a computer right to your door. If your student doesn't have a computer, they send the computer to the door. Now, these aren't always brand new computers. Sometimes they're refurbished. And then they will also pay for internet access.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, and then so is it a homeschooling process, or could, business mom and business dad, could they do this actually and functionally have it in the home also? Do you know?
Yeah, it's a virtual academy, so the students are at home on the computer. They meet with their teachers online, and everything is 100% online.
I love that. I mean, to me, I would go back to elementary school for that one. I'm joking, but I think it's really important that we actually get going that direction. So to know that there are virtual academies that are doing that, and I don't know that. I always tell people there are a lot of things I don't know about children because I don't have any. And it's not something I always actively engage in. So it's good to know from parents that do have children and grandchildren that, this is something that is actually taking place, and that actively we can now tell people about this stuff on video. So for everybody watching, and you want to know how to get your children to another place in education, virtual schooling actually exists now. So the future is now, and virtual schooling is open not just for adults but for children too. Okay. Post jobs too. Oh, okay, cool. That's something else. Anyway, I sent it to Farries. Farries, I sent it to your email. You should have it now. If you can look for your email, there should be a button that'll say join the Google Hangout. All right, and Steve has found this link. Steve, thank you so much for finding that link for us. It is the gavirtualschool.org. Is this Georgia? Let's see. Let's pop this open. We can actually see this on the screen, and we can do a split screen. That'll be nice. Let's hope it doesn't mess up the screen. Okay, LaDonna, are you there? LaDonna, I saw you pop up on the screen. Are you there with us? LaDonna Jacey?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh. Hi, how are you?
Hi, awesome.
Thank you for
How
joining.
you
Oh, I'm spectacular. I'm
You're
always
old.
spectacular. I started saying that for everybody because everybody's like, "You're always spectacular."
Yes,
Like,
you are. You're always spectacular.
I try to be. I always want to stay in spectacular mindset. So.
There you go. Yeah, I'm just walking in, so I'm just jumping in to hear what I can hear tonight.
Oh yeah, this is a hot topic. We started late. I started about 40 minutes ago because I had a glitch with the other link that I sent out. But I think this is a very important topic for all of us to discuss and chip in on and have video content on, because like I was saying at the beginning, this week Google had a diversification survey done, and it's a report actually that shows what demographics are there working for Google, and Google being the #1 place to work according to all surveys, I think it's imperative to see more African Americans there, and of course they have now said that they are going to actively employ some people.
Oh,
Or
good.
try to get people.
Well,
Okay, Deanna, I did get your message.
Job there.
Oh, what'd you say?
I'm gonna fly out tomorrow and get me a job there.
I heard that. I'm right behind you.
Yeah. Do I get to select? Maybe they'll let me select where I want to work. What you think?
Chicago. Look, I had to have a girl moment really quick. LaDonna, did you cut your hair off?
Yes, I did.
I'm mad at you. Okay. Even though it's really cute because you have a very cute face and it actually brought your face out.
Thank you. Yeah, I had to go there.
I understand. I've done that before myself.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So someone else just asked for invite Deanna Troupe, who actually is a homeschool educator for her children.
Mhm.
So I'm sending her a link now, and let's hope that she can get on with us. So that'll be good insight. And Cynthia, you educated your children from home too, didn't you?
I currently homeschool my 10-year-old grandson.
Oh, okay, right. I remember something like that in the story. All right, and Deanna clicked on quickly. Okay, wonderful. Okay, I still wish Greg Greenlee would have got on. Greg Greenlee comes from Blacks in Technology. I see a message, and who's the message from? I see messages from, okay, Maxwell, I don't know why your messages don't show up here, but I see a message from Cynthia, LaDonna, and from Deanna, and Deanna said hi. Great, Deanna, wonderful. I still haven't seen any messages from other people. I don't know why I can't see the messages from YouTube. Before it used to click in here, and I would see it show up. Interesting. We'll figure that out later. But I do have my inbox on Facebook open, so anybody that wants to leave a message, please leave a message and talk to me. All right, and Deanna says she's listening in, and Deanna is... Okay, I'm going to try and invite... I'm going to invite Maxwell one more time. He said he's not getting the message. So I don't know why. I have all these women on. I need a man on camera.
It could be because when you send the invite via Gmail, it shows up in a separate little box, a green box, so he needs to look to the right on the bottom.
The pop-up?
Uh-huh.
Right.
And he may be missing that.
Okay, so Farries, if you're looking at your computer screen, laptop, I'm not sure if you're using your tablet or not, but there should be a pop-up box that'll say Join Hangout. That'll be at the bottom. He's a techie. He knows this. He's a real techie from way back also. He'll have a lot of input, and he's a great talker, so. Mr. Matt, I call him cousin. All right, and LaDonna said, all right, everybody's associating themselves. LaDonna and Deanna and Cynthia, everybody, all these tech queens, tech divas. We're all in the house. All right. So again, face-to-face with CAIRO QWEEN, and we are now talking about finding the face of African Americans in technology today. So this is something extremely imperative for us to talk about because we are now looking at 9% engagement for the technology industry, which is an absurd number for the type of creative people that we are and the number of tech items that we purchase. We should be in a much higher engagement at this point. But of course, we have to get people, catch them up and get them up to speed. Now, ironically, here's where I could think that LaDonna can chime in, because LaDonna is not a techie like I'm not a techie, but she has become techie because she's now hung around us enough to know where, LaDonna has engaged in various things from, taking the youth that she works with at the Boys and Girls Club or the YMCA.
I spent where am I? I spent a lot of time with the kids at the Boys and Girls Club, and
okay, right.
Yeah, and I service children who are in foster care at no cost. So I've worked with families as well. So just about wherever I can, help to make a positive impact with our young people.
Well, kudos to you. Big applause. Wait, we should have gave you some applause there. I don't think I have it on anymore. Oh, wait, I do. We'll find it in a second. You definitely deserve applause for that. that is a beautiful thing that you do. And especially because you're now bringing, the conversation of technology to some youth that probably wouldn't get that conversation on a regular basis, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And volunteering with the Boys and Girls Club, at the particular club where I am, there's the issue of we're trying to get the Wi-Fi up. The computer lab is there, but for some reason the administration, they just can't seem to get us that password. So I try to push back as much as I can without, causing the director, any backlash, because that's his job. It's not my job. It's his job. So actually, I spent a lot of time on YouTube last night trying to figure out a workaround, to get around that, because for the summer, what we want to do is to have the coding camps, writing workshops, and doing the social media Saturdays. So if they don't, because it's almost been 2 years that he's been fighting to get this, which is really absurd. And so if he doesn't, we might have to get kind of creative and just kind of get it in there. So I know I have to be careful, like I say, because this is his job and it's not ours. But I just really just caught a hold of his vision, and he's a wonderful young man who really believes in our kids, and he wants to impact them positively. And when he went there a couple of years ago, he was up against a hostile staff and that kind of thing, and he's really brought it in a lot. So he was like, yes, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And there are other people in the community, who are there to support him. And then, we're just up against this wall with the administration, and they're not really saying why. So, like I say, I spent a lot of time on YouTube trying to, find a workaround and, to get this done. So, lift us in prayer that we can get through this wall, because it's just silly. It's just really silly.
And you know what, CAIRO, I could probably shed a little bit of light on that, because organizations, especially now, you would think that a national organization like the Boys and Girls Club would already have policies in place that govern how their internet access can be used, but perhaps they don't. But if I were LaDonna, I would probably contact someone from the national organization at corporate and ask them if they have a policy in place. I wouldn't, point the finger or anything, but just generally ask them if they have a policy in place for guests and members to use the internet access at local Boys and Girls Club facilities. I would start there. And then, LaDonna, you might also start looking at some policy statements from other organizations and present that to your director and say, look, here's some policy statements that protect other organizations. Perhaps if we have something like this in place here, then would you feel more comfortable opening up internet access for guests and users?
Okay, he's all on board, so absolutely.
That's wonderful. Yeah, that was something I was thinking, have they gotten to a place where they have, secured their internet usage? Because, ironically, even in 2014, there are still people who are not secure. You know, and I think it's because it costs so much to really implement that type of software that can keep. But I mean, it's something that's a necessity. You have to adapt, you know, but it costs so much to do that, and maybe that funding was not there or hadn't been recognized that they needed that funding to make that happen. So that's something I was thinking. I want to, you know, say hello to Lazone Greys, who is viewing us, and someone just joined, and I see Farries Maxwell, but there's another box there that I don't know who that is. That could be Lazone. But Farries Maxwell out of Chicago and New York, he just joined, and he's the person that I said is a tech wearable designer. And I think I want to make sure we give him a lot of exposure because that's pretty cool. And I don't know any other African American tech wearable designers. He has some pretty good stuff, and I'll let him discuss that if he'd like to, especially because we're talking about finding the face of African Americans in technology, and I think that's something big that we need to put on. We talk about the ladies a lot because, of course, I'm a lady, and you know, we have ladies like Cynthia, who I've had on a few times, Deanna, who's been with us a few times, LaDonna, who's been with us a few times, and Lazone out there. I didn't forget about you. Lazone is like our faithful gentleman, resident gentleman. And he's out in Kansas, of course, with all the multitude of projects that he's doing in technology and the goodwill he's spreading through technology in the community. But Farries, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear you. Okay, let me know when you're ready, and then you can talk about what you do, and put a black face on tech wearables. You know, excuse me, an African American face. Let me be PC. Deanna, can you hear me? I don't know if Deanna said she could speak at this time. Okay, that's awesome. Deanna says she added everybody to her Google Plus circles. That's what I'm talking about. Networking and network. That's what's up. Anyway, so Deanna, if you can hear me, let me know, and then you can introduce yourself also. We have a little background on Cynthia Frazier out of California. Cynthia Frazier from Tech Divas Uncorked. We did an actual feature on her last week in nanotechnology. It was so awesome. That was the most that I had any type of media exposure for the Google Hangout yet. Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Cynthia. And then Deanna, homeschooler. Deanna is an author of books for technology, and she sells them on Amazon, I believe it is, for only $2, $2.50, I think. So really great ways to learn about Twitter. She hooked me on to something today. I'll let her tell us about if she can speak. Oh, she says she's getting her mic. Okay, great. Farries, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, Farries, introduce yourself because you're the new guy here. Introduce yourself and then tell us about what you do and your experience in tech.
Well, what I do is product design development, marketing and sales, basically. And I design and develop, my niche is apparel and accessories. So I started off on this journey for a while. And, you know, being that like I'm in my studio now, my mother, you know, grew up watching my mother do her thing and decided to, you know, carve me out a niche, in short. And so in short, I make us bags with multimedia accessories for your mobile devices. And what these bags, the way they separate themselves from the competition is that it simply carries all of your mobile devices in an organized fashion. So it makes your travel more, you know, more simple. But at the same time, when you look at it, it kind of like reminds you of the boombox days, but it's upgraded. So I upgraded your boombox. It's more lightweight. You have no batteries. They're totally rechargeable, and you have your screens and stuff available as well. That's one thing to do. Here's one of my models here.
I was about to ask you, is that one there?
Yeah, this is one of the older models that I did. It's kind of vintage now, but this was in the second revolution where I brought
the tech epoch, yeah. The second tech epoch, yeah.
Yeah. So this one was made for actually the Walkman. You can tell by the window if you can see that there. That one was made for the Walkman days. So now I'm doing bags for the tablets. You know. So we're gonna just upgrade this and do the same thing, and then hopefully we can begin to capture a share of the market and then introduce blacks in technology and then continue to build, because in the future you're going to have chips that's going to be embedded into the fabrics which are going to do things. So the bag is the most practical way to infuse technology to where it's not scaring people off, like putting it in the wrist and the chips and stuff and just keeping track of you all the time. So that's a little bit of what I do.
Okay, and I'm going to come back to more of what you do, because you actually have a history of this, which I would love for people to know more about, because you go way back in technology also. But so for the bag that you're designing now, you have and own the patent for this bag, correct?
Correct, I do.
Which is huge, because all we have to do is get you to market with this bag, and now we have now turned you into a multi-billionaire.
Well, basically that's it. I'm sitting in my shop now, so I'm there's 7 machines here. We got 2 industrial machines. We got another heat seal machine, and looking at some other machines to better make that fine stitching and stuff. Only thing that's hindering me from really going at this on a daily basis is a couple machines to where I'm just picky about the stitching. I want the stitching just as good as Dooney and Bourke, just as good as Hermes Birkin or Coach. So that's the only thing that separates me from really running forward, into the marketplace and saying, hey, and producing on a daily basis. Because I basically
okay, so just so you know, and I'm going to say this to America. America, you're looking at a prototype of the former bag that he developed, because of course he has actually gone into a whole nother arena with this bag, which I'm not going to discuss because you're not discussing it. But I think that if America can understand, you have an African American inventor here. This man is actually probably going to make history if somebody would put money into his project. Now, and this is just the backpack version. There's so much more to this that he has and he's invented and created that really goes into the next stream of technology. And so to the BDPA, Blacks in Technology, the Urban Tech Fair, the Heinz Media Group, to all of you who are Black Enterprise, one of your favorites, Black Enterprise, for all of you that are interested in finding these Black inventors, I have one right here. You can find him where, Farries?
You can Google Farries Maxwell patent, and you'll get my intellectual property. You'll get the history.
Spell it.
F-A-R-R, F as in Frank, A-R-R-I-E-S, Maxwell, M-A-X-W-E-L-L, patent. You can Google that. It'll come right up. Google features it in their intellectual property database. And then you can look at the dates, which is pretty interesting, and how it was out before the iPad even hit the market. So I've been, ran into some partnership problems once before, and I'm just slow to pick who I'm looking to work with, and trying to find those right people to take it into the marketplace and begin to build. It promotes education. The thing about the bags is they promote education, and then it promotes communication. So it was a way for me to say, not having the budgets to be creative and use my passion for technology, fashion was the easiest way to do it. That's what led me into it. And then now it's come full circle and everybody's talking fashion technology. But I've been doing this for over 25 years now.
And that is hot. So I think it's very cool that this is happening, because I mean, if you do actually break and make millions, I could actually say I showed you here first. So
to me, it's not about a if. I'm here right now with 1, 2, 3.
Win. You're absolutely right. Let's speak in the affirmative. You're
Right,
correct.
with 3 black women, number 1 consumers in the world and in America, and you guys carry bags. In your bag, you're going to carry all types of other stuff. You're going to carry makeup. You're going to carry books. You're going to carry content. You're going to carry all types of other stuff. So I'm speaking to I'm speaking to my market right now, technically.
It is so. Absolutely.
So I think it's just making those few sales that will jumpstart it, because once you guys do it, the rest is going to do what they always do. They're going to follow.
There it is.
So, I mean, that's what it is. Just getting out there and say, okay, cutting it to where I can be able to, put it on the right people that's in tech, black people in tech, and then continue to move it.
Okay, let's go back into a little more about you really quick, Farries. Let's talk about your previous experience in technology, when this bag was something that you were trying to market back in the day then. So in the first epoch of technology. I'm making these terms up, by the way. The first epoch of technology. Let's talk about your experiences then and people who you dealt with, if you can say any names, companies, organizations. And I mean, just to share that experience, because of course we're talking about finding the face of African Americans. Hold on one second. Cynthia Frazier said this is cool. What about Kickstarter, Shark Tank? Is that team with energy plus backpack? Leave a few by accident to create buzz. I heard that, Cynthia.
Those are all on the radar. Shark Tank, my way of doing Shark Tank. I watch Shark Tank. I've been in the real Shark Tank with investors. This particular bag here was financed by a really well-known entrepreneur, and I made some mistakes myself by trying to move very fast early on, and then partnered with some of the wrong people that was not in my best interest.
Okay.
So, Shark Tank and them is on the list, but my goal is to make sure that my delivery is there and my craftsmanship is there. And those are a few things that I'm just tidying up. That's when I spoke about the different machines and stuff like that. And then the manufacturer that I'm working with, because then I know I'll be able to deliver. And I know I'll be able to, satisfy that niche for quality. So those are the only things that hinder me. I have samples here now that we cut here, but there's just certain little machinery and stuff you use if you've been into this that you look for, because you want to really, put out a product that can compare to the high-end bags that's out there on the market. So that is a possibility. I'm going to do Shark Tank with a shark skin, a shark skin bag.
Okay. Hey, look. Can you talk any more about what you have in development now, or did you want to just leave it there, or as far as like the type of what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm kind of leaving it there right now.
Okay.
I shared with you was because you do what you do, and just to give you insight on where I'm going. At the right time, I want to break it, and hopefully we can break it right here on Google Hangout. I mean, with the CAIRO QWEEN, that's what it's about. I want to do a
real show.
CAIRO QWEEN bag. We want to do a CAIRO QWEEN bag exclusively for you and your show.
Well, I will be the baddest chick around, won't I? Well, listen, I definitely appreciate you joining us, because I think that, it's important to give each other a platform for exposure. I'm trying to find as many tech people as I know to get on this platform so that we can actively engage more people and show visibly that we're all here and we're actually representing, We
are here. And, in the first, you asked the question about the first tech revolution, or the one before this one. Which was Moby, Marketing Opportunity in the Business of Entertainment, which Black Planet came out of, and a lot of other different black-owned tech companies that did business with companies like Game Boy. You had Damon Dash that did a deal with AOL. which was like $17 million to get blacks to do what you're doing now, get blacks connected. Pretty much they call it the digital divide. Well, this has been going on for a minute now, and what I'm seeing is that we start off on these journeys, but we don't really follow through strongly. A lot of people fall off. It takes a real deep passion to stay in it, and to really carve out your niches and connect with those that are really serious. Some people get on it for the hype and find out, no, I ain't got that much passion, and they fall off and just go to do what they're doing. But it's really not as complicated as it may seem. It's the coming together, the different groups, the development groups, where you come together and create different ideas and then support each other on taking them to market. It's not as complicated, I tell you. It's the most complicated thing are some of the simplest things that I tend to find until I can do some of the most difficult things in the world. The simplest things I have the most difficult time with. That's me as a tech person, as a geek person. So,
well, I mean, everybody is not meant to do everything, and I tell people that a lot because people always say, well, you should do this, and I'm like, I don't do everything. I can do a whole lot of stuff, but I can't do absolutely everything. And right. I can do a whole lot of things at one time. I just can't do all of it. So that's why we're all meant to connect, so that we can help each other. And I know you jumped on me about that the other day, but, we are, the things that we can do and that we're able to do, we should do that functionally well where we are. And this is what I do, run my mouth. So,
So just doing that, you can. Listen, I imported this bag, right? And I had the research paid for by, like I said, a well-known entrepreneur. It was the Ed Lowe Foundation, okay? Well-known. You can Google it, okay? And they got one of the baddest entrepreneur programs around, and it actually worked. It works. And you're looking at a result of a program that worked. Right now, they're not doing first-round entrepreneurs. They're doing second-round entrepreneurs. So they have like 400 acres of, second-level entrepreneurs, okay, that's going to that higher level where they do retreats and stuff at. But this particular product, I had just the concept and the idea. This came all the way from overseas. Never been to China myself, but I imported 500 units off of my design, off of my sales pitch, off of my seed capital, and fundraising. I brought in the bag and got to the table at Foot Locker. I just had the wrong partners at the wrong time that just couldn't see giving up 500 units to Foot Locker. I could see it because they had 1,400 stores, and all I want to do is get on the shelf space. And I knew that if only got 500 of them, those 500 were going to sell through that 1,400 stores. They're used to making orders of 100,000, so that would just give me a little bit of shelf space and then move. But they couldn't see that. They wanted the money, a really quick return. So to make a long story short, that partnership didn't last, and it hindered my what I was set out to do. This product is still hot today. I mean, you're looking at tech wearables. This is vintage. But when you look at it, it's all it takes is a couple updates, and the thing is still just as good as yesterday because of the way the flat panel speaker technology was embedded in the fabrics and made and produced the sound. So I go back into the technology, and like I said, this right here is really where it all begins when developing new technology. People coming together and figuring out a way to bring new products to the marketplace.
Okay, and so this was something that happened in New York. You're in Chicago at this time, correct?
This happened in a small town called Niles, Michigan.
Oh, in Michigan, okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're all over the place.
Yeah, they went to New York chasing the dream and, seeking and learning the fashion industry. That's when we started the economy began to go down. Trying to get hands-on and make connection with those manufacturers out there when they started disappearing, which they're starting to come back. They're just starting to come back now.
Okay, so LaDonna has a question for you. LaDonna Jacey said she had to reboot and she missed some of the hangouts, so she wanted to know, where have you tested at?
Where have I tested?
Correct.
This new product that I have? or where have I tested these?
LaDonna, are you on? You can speak to fairies. It's okay. This is a hangout. We're super informal.
Yeah, it's all good. We're all about communication, open communication.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you fine. Do you hear her, fairies?
Yes, I do. I do not.
I was wondering, where have you tested the bag? I know you said, with us women being here that we were your market, but I'm trying to get a good visual of your bag, and I'm thinking particularly for women who would buy that. I'm thinking, because for me it looks more sports oriented, so I know where my kids would hang out. There are lots of us, and moms, we have the buying power and the decision making. So I'm thinking of where you have lots of leagues and tournaments and that kind of thing, golf tournaments and
Right. LaDonna, you said something. I've tested this particular model. What you're looking at is an older model.
Okay.
What you don't see is the newer model, which Cairo sees, and I'm just giving it a little bit more time before I break it.
I got you. Okay.
That's all. But yeah, you're right. Because the mom makes the decision for the younger kids. That's what this thinking was for. The average college student goes through at least 3 bags a year.
Right.
Number one thing that they buy is music.
Yep.
Technology.
Yep.
Fashion.
Yep.
Okay. And the first thing they spend, and how they get it off their mother or father's credit card, or they scholarship programs.
Yeah.
Okay. So this was when I was really into that. I was around Notre Dame campus, so I was really studying and doing the research, testing it out. Got great feedback. I worked the magic shows. I was working the CESs and electronic shows, consumer electronic shows at that time, and that's where I really got a lot of personal feedback from different celebrities, different students. But main thing, what I do is I look for what will simplify you carrying all these gadgets. Most people lose their cell phones, lose their tablets, lose a tech device accessory on the move because they got all these different components and attachments. So why not make one simple component that simply organizes your devices in a way that you can use it like a system, like a boombox. I mean, we did the boombox. Look how we carried that boombox.
Right.
And it was huge, but we had to have it back in the day, and we didn't go too many places without it. So this is a lightweight, chic way to get all of that out of your your mobile devices. And it just be convenient. Make your journey a little bit more convenient and simple.
Oh, I got you. Are there compartments on the front of that? I'm trying to kind of see it a little better.
Oh yeah, this is a traditional backpack style. Okay, it opens up. This window here is for your Walkman, of course. On the inside, I have compartments for your CDs.
Oh, okay.
Where your CDs went, and just stuff your CDs in here. And then over to the side, you got a pen. Your pens and stuff can go in there. Mm-hmm. Right? This is the actual amplifier that goes right here. It takes battery. I didn't plug it up. I haven't plugged it up lately. But I can give you guys a demo one day. You just turn this on, and inside the fabric here is the speaker system. It's a flat panel speaker system.
Oh.
And it just fits right inside, and you don't use a whole speaker. You use what's called the driver of the speaker, because the driver, if you look at a speaker is made of plastic and/or paper. Okay, so plastics conduct sound. So if you take the driver and you put it to a surface, you can produce sound. So with the right fabrics and the right sound boards, you can insert those into the fabric seamlessly without disturbing the design. That's what made this one really unique. We actually did one of these for Source magazine. I made a 5 mic bag for the Source magazine as well. And then on the front of it, of course, you got your straps and at the time, it was all about carrying a lot of weight with your book, so it was a concern for your back,
Right.
you know, and stuff. So this was a support system to help you put it on and without, you know, pulling back on you too much and causing problems on your back. And then up here was another place where your attachment and your audio player could also attach if you wanted to have it was a little remote that go there, so you can control it without taking it off or nothing.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you.
And then we have, you know, like I said, I have some other stuff that I'm going to be doing. I have a lot of other. I'll show you another different version of. Which is the taupe. This is the taupe version I did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can see that clearly.
Yeah, I can kind of camouflage.
Huh?
It's camouflage.
Camouflage, yeah.
Okay.
This is what I did for Bail Out the Troops. This is a taupe version, which is a simple, easy to make. It's like you cannot not make this in America. You see what I'm saying? So the taupe version is just a drawstring taupe, but it infuses the speaker systems here, if you can see it.
Okay.
You see? That's one version here that what we did, and then I used the graphics. So I have a lot of different ones that I'm going to break out that I've done over the years. You know, eventually, and I've got little, you know, little unique components that go to it, to add to it. But I'm just looking for the right time to break it and to get that right energy going.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. So what do you do, LaDonna?
Oh, I hang out with lots of cool kids.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Doing what kind of work? You do youth work? You do?
Well, I volunteer with a lot of the kids at the Boys and Girls Club, and I work with I spend my time with kids in foster care.
Okay.
So.
Okay. That's interesting. So you hang out with the millennium.
Yeah. You know, the older have to help the younger, and the younger can help the older. So, you know, we just keep it going that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Yeah. We gotta believe in our kids. Somebody's gotta reach back.
Hey, if we don't, and we can't expect nobody else to.
Nobody's coming.
You know, that's just the way it is. It's our responsibility.
I'm sorry. Wait a minute. I had to insert this. LaDonna, say it. Everybody get ready to laugh.
What?
No, Superman's not coming.
When I was doing the Urban Tech Fair hangout, look at you. When I was doing the Urban Tech Fair hangout, LaDonna was on, I think, the first or the second one I did, and she busted out in the middle of it and said, "I'm trying to tell you, Superman ain't coming." And I said, I like to fell on the ground. We made that a hashtag. It was Superman's not coming.
LaDonna, I kind of disagree with you.
Really, Superman's coming?
Superman's already here.
He is?
Yeah, Superman been around, and we got a lot of little young Supermans and superwomen and girls running around, but we ain't getting the exposure and credit that we deserve. We got a lot of young, bright, like Jim Newsom talked about, Silicon Valley's in our own backyard. We get exploited more than we get the opportunity to really do what we do. They're going to judge us by either the zip code. They're going to judge us by the school, being that we came from a single-parent mom. They're going to judge us by the color of our skin. We all know that part. They're going to judge us by economically as well. This is fact. This is not This is not made up fiction. This is fact. This is what I lived. When you're 12, 10, 11, 12 years old, or even younger, 8, 9 years old, and you're being harassed by the police because your mom or your grandma just bought you a new bike with some mad grills on it.
Mm-hmm.
You're being harassed because you had that boom box in a certain area, and you was carrying it, technology, and you were just having fun, and you're being harassed by a grown police officer.
Yeah.
So there are Supermans and there are bright minds in our community. Okay. This stuff that I do right here
mm-hmm.
is basic. I know cats and younger people. I've seen people younger that can tear that smart screen TV you got right now, or tear one of these computers apart and put it back together and never even been to school.
Right. I don't disagree with you, and I know that if a little girl goes to school with a name like Shaniqua, she gets tracked on the slower track.
Oh, totally.
She's not on, track to get access to, the better advantages in school. So, yes, we do have very talented young people, but we also have so many who, unfortunately, they don't have access, and it starts young, and they're caught up in the distractions.
They're caught up in the distractions. They're exploited like they're being exploited now.
That's right.
Like they've been exploited over the last, you've seen through the hip hop generation, into the hip hop movement and everything. You see what I'm saying? Absolutely. But at the same time, it's our responsibility to push them further, and not push them further in the traditional ways that we think we should do it, but to also look and explore new avenues of how to do it so that they will have alternatives when they don't get that job, or when they don't get that scholarship, or when they don't get to do the things that the more privileged kids get to do.
I don't disagree with you, for sure.
Because they have to, in the end, you end up relying on your own talents. That's the only thing. What God gave you, that talent that God gave you, no man can really take that away from you. So just having the opportunity to really use it and band and find those communities where you can use those talents is what it's all about. I think that's what we need to do to open up them doors. Hello?
I'm here.
You guys got quiet.
I don't disagree with you, and I think also too that a lot of our talented kids are discouraged. So I think it's important that we help them to find those talents that they aren't necessarily aware of, and also to instill that hope and that belief in them. That, just because other people see you a certain way, that's not who you are. And at the same time, don't act like something that you're not.
Right, exactly. It's been very, it was so difficult, right, to do some of these things that I'm doing, right, and I boiled it down through development to make it more simple, okay, and the whole thing is that it really shouldn't be that simple. It's not that simple in other communities. As I connect with other communities, this thing, like I said, even with the that investor, skyrocket. I call myself trying to network with some other people, and got into some pitfalls. But the bottom line is, they opened up doors, like the Ed Loeb Foundation cell system. That thing was unique. You walk in one side, and you come out the other side done and ready to go as an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. You're ready to go to market. Mm-hmm. They're not playing with it, and they don't. Right now, they've been doing it for so long, to just for a lot of minority or people of color startups getting off the ground. It seems like something is just retarded about it to some degree, if you will, because it don't take that long. when they come together. It didn't take me long to pull this thing from overseas and to be sitting at the table with champs when I was working with those people.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
So here's a question, and I thought, before when Cynthia, when LaDonna had said this about Superman not coming, that we don't have a bailout plan for African Americans. I think that's what she was actually speaking to before. That there wasn't like somebody that was going to come and help us anymore. We had to help ourselves.
Exactly.
So, and I think, in technology, and I always say this, I believe technology is the way that we're able to do that. But in this situation, because, of course, we're talking about finding the African American face that is in technology, where is it that we need to be looking to stimulate? Because my thought has always been, let's go after our wealthy in the African American community and try to get them to redirect some dollars into tech or into our community, period. Because we have so many entertainers and so many people who have gotten so wealthy. And back when the civil rights movement was moving, in the 60s, and they used to literally depend on these people. We don't see these people anymore. After they blow up and get rich, they do these things, and they're not really impactful. And I had a long discussion with Farries about this week. Not really impactful for our community. They may do things where, like, and I think we spoke about what Russell Simmons has done, for the identity of specific, endeavors in music, and then for, a few rappers who have started from the bottom, now they're here, which, by the way, he did not start from the bottom. He was always at the top. But anyway, to look at certain people and to know, well, these people are in these positions with extreme amounts of wealth. They have no idea how to manage their wealth. There's nobody coaching them on what to do with their wealth. How do we get to those people and give them something that can leave a legacy behind for them? Because this is something that could now not only build and rebuild our communities, but it could actually help to increase, the economic floor plan for what we need to grow from the bottom to another place. And I'm not saying we're all at the bottom, because, like, I tell people, like, I didn't grow up in the hood. I didn't. And I'm saying that honestly. I grew up in Colorado. And I grew up in a neighborhood where we were the only African Americans in the entire subdivision. So I didn't come from that. But I've been, when I went to college, I was right in the hood because I went to HBCU. My first apartment by myself was smack in the middle of the hood. So, so I've seen both sides of the track. I live in Atlanta. You have plenty of different types of demographics here in Atlanta in various areas. And I think, to have people understand, that we are different people from different populations and different cultures. We're not just what is seen on television. We're not the people that you see in hip-hop. We're a cultivation of everything. So we are immersed into the American culture because technically we're the backbone of the American culture, if you really want to look at it like that. So we're everywhere, and we're not just the one thing. So how do we reach these multitudes of different people who are still speaking different languages, even like we were, like, according to what Ferry said earlier this week, like we were from the slave ships, and they had scrambled our languages. We're still speaking different languages. How do we come together and actually get some traction to move forward in our technology movement?
Well, one is what you're doing here. Regardless of how many people you may have on at this time, just like they used to say, I'm going to say this: the oldest technology in the world is the spirit. That's the oldest technology, period. And ain't nothing else running, and none of this other stuff that we're developing will come from if it don't come from the spirit. So that's the oldest technology. That's why prayer is really powerful.
Explain that. Explain that when you say that for people who may not understand what you're saying.
The oldest technology in the world is the spirit of man, the spirit, the actual spirit. And that's why prayer and meditation is really powerful and work, because there is communication there with the creator, and also like they said with we communicate with each other in a lot of different ways. We just don't know it yet, and we're not fully tapped into it, which is the supernatural, which is part of that Superman thing he was talking about and not coming, because we done got off into we're not focused. So, but to say that is to say that those things is what we have to stick to. I don't know if you remember in church, or if you went to church and they would tell you, there ain't too many people in here, but we finna really have church. And they really you heard that before, ain't you?
I have.
Right.
Heard that.
Well, this is the same game. And so, like they say, if you make it, they'll come. If you build it, they'll come. They will. I've done it. I've seen it. I didn't know exactly what I was doing at the time, but they did. So, and that's what creates the pioneers. All the roads that you travel down today, you might not know it, but there was a whole lot of trees, mountains, rocks, and everything else in the way. But we floating down these roads today and taking them for granted. But there was sweat, blood, and tears paving them roads. Believe it or not. And so, the way I see it is to start do these things like we're doing. Reach out and let's figure out how we can help each other build. I'm not really after building up those people that really have no interest in the main, into doing like what we're talking about here. People that say they have an interest or just use it or capitalize off on it or play the card, because I've seen it, and it's a hard one to bite and hard one to swallow too, because you see people talk a good talk, for a good cause and stuff, but they ain't really doing nothing. They just leading them people in a lot of circles. So for us to really come together and say, it says where there's two in agreement, the word goes forth. I know it. I know that's true. I know it's true. I've seen it. I done did it. All right. So putting our heads together and then make some progress. Watch how many people follow. All it takes is for you to be on the right channel with the right PR piece, or at Google, like you said one time, and then everybody and their mama gonna be trying to call you. You know how that works. It's just like when so and so signs a record deal. Same old game, or such and such gets a basketball contract. The same thing. You see what I'm saying? But you're in Google, you're on Google, you're using it, so really putting it to work, and you're teaching. So really putting it to work and making it do what it do, as opposed to just selling the hype. But by you doing this, you're doing it's hands-on. Right now you're doing hands-on Google technology. So growing that, right? That's what's going on. So we're figuring out ways how to grow it and use it to really help others, and to and to move Google's product. I don't think they would be not like that. I think they.
Oh, I haven't even gone into Google yet. I'm so obsessed with Google, it's not even funny. Don't even get me started on Google products. But so Farry says that we actually have an innate ability by our spirit. The technology exists within us anyway, so it's just a matter of us doing. Is that what you were saying, Farries?
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's a matter of us doing, because when you look at it, no other technology, all this other material technology would not exist if it didn't come from the mind, human mind.
LaDonna, what do you say to that? LaDonna or Cynthia or LaDonna, what do you say to what Farry said? Or do you have your own pieces to where we move forward as a people?
I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you fine.
I'm sorry. I stepped away for a minute, so.
Oh, okay. So basically, I was just asking, where do we go in technology? Because I personally have believed that, you know, we could tap into some resources that we have as far as our wealthy in the African American community to try to, you know, focus some of those dollars into our community. You know, where do you think we go? Ferry said basically we have everything we need within the spirit, because the spirit is the first form of technology. And I just wanted to know what your input is as to where we are going to move forward, or how do we move forward as a whole people into technology and into our future?
I think really it's about strengthening and maximizing what we have. I think I heard Ferris say that, you know, where it begins, which is within, but when you're talking about people investing their money into us, they also want a return.
Correct.
So then, you know, when it comes to forecasting and projecting, then they're really looking to see, okay, the bottom line. And then too, as technology is so vast, you know, the foundation of where are we going to start, where is it that we want to be? You know, 10 years from now, do we want to be at the forefront of, you know, whatever the newest innovation is? You know, what is it that we are creating for us? What is it that, you know, we are going to be established as the pioneers, where really we are the ones who are, you know, kind of having that impact that's worldwide, that keeps us at the table.
Let me say this, LaDonna. You talked about, you know, when they are going to invest in us, right?
Yes.
Right there. We invest in ourselves. The more we invest in ourselves, the more we will have what you just said. The more we will pioneer, and be leaders. When we invest in someone else, we allow them to have a stake in equity in us. That's what they do every day with the celebrities, TV shows, basketball shows, rappers, and all. They invest in them, but then they end up owning them. So that's why we're not owned. We have to invest in ourselves and do the same thing you have to do with everything else that you have to plant and harvest. It's the same game. You have to plant when you go to grow your fruit or grow a garden. I don't know if you ever worked in the garden before, saw your grandparents or your mom and them work a garden before, but I did. I grew up on a farm as well. Okay, and so when I first learned, they took me to that field, and I first learned how to get the land ready, to break the land up and get it ready to plant the seeds. That was a heck of an experience, and I can remember being so excited about it because them seeds was going to turn into something that I was going to get to watch and grow. As a little kid, I'm like 6, 7, 8 years old, and I'm going to get to see these things come to life out of the earth, and then we're going to actually get to eat them. So that was like real exciting to me, that all this was, that lot on the side of our house was finna, that lot of land on the side of our house was finna feed us.
Right.
We didn't have nothing but a little raggedy house, but all the food that we had was going to come right next to that lot, and all we had to do was get out there and invest the time into the earth and to plant the seed and then harvest. So we planted the seed and then we reaped it. Next thing you know, when the fall came, we were sitting up on the porch picking greens and beans and this, that, and the other. Watermelon. I was more excited about the watermelon than anything. Watermelon and the different stuff they had grew, right? Then we had stuff that we could take and then we can trade. Because so-and-so down the street and around the corner had also another garden. But they didn't grow all the things we grew. We grew something different. But what we did was traded with what they had. They had bigger fields and they had corn. Cool. So we don't have corn, but we got these beans and we got these greens, and we begin to trade amongst ourselves.
Right.
From there, we went to
I understand what you're saying, but I was speaking to when CAIRO was saying that we have a large amount of, you know, African Americans who have, quote unquote, made it, but they don't invest in our community.
Right.
That's what I'm speaking to that.
But they don't. That's the thing. If they made it to the fame is one thing, But being able to make it to real wealth is another thing. You can have fame and fictitious wealth
Right.
versus real wealth. And if you seen what I've seen in a lot of, and I can't say exactly who, but some of those that don't lose it, I don't see no real estate. I don't see no skyscrapers when they talk about $100 billion contracts and this, that, and the other. With Dr. Dre, I'm looking at Dr.
And
Dre.
Fairies, let her finish her comment, because she was trying to make a point, and I know what you're saying, because that's what I was saying yesterday when I was talking to you. But I know exactly what you're saying. But go ahead, LaDonna, finish what you were saying. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I lost that train of thought, but I mean, there's a difference in, you know, being rich and being wealthy. And yes, there are so many, you know, who aren't able to maintain, you know, once they start receiving, you know, large amounts of money like that. But what I was speaking to was, you know, CAIRO, when you were saying about, you know, those African Americans who have maintained, but they don't invest in our community. And I think a large part is because of still within our community, there's still so much mistrust. And there's still, you know, so much, well, if I bring this to the table, what am I going to get back? So, and then I think what Farris is speaking to is investing and sowing seeds in the life of the young people. And then, you know, as they grow and mature, then that spreads throughout the community, and that's how we grow as a whole. So, you know, how we move forward is, you know, a lot about how George Fraser talks about all the little dots connecting together is how we would grow as a community versus, you know, I have you, CAIRO, down in Atlanta, and where I have Farris there in Chicago, but you're not connected.
Right.
So together is how we grow.
That's the key.
Really quick, Lazone Greys is, I guess he's trying to get in. Lazone, you're on mute from what I can see. I don't see your picture at all, but I see a black space with you on mute. He says, can you hear me? I think that if the right activity is going on, it will eventually be noticed and supported, even by rappers, athletes, and other entertainers. What we produce, and so we reap. So I think that's what I think you were agreeing. The two of you, Fairies and Lazone Gray, actually agree, and I think that LaDonna and I think we agree more on the side of, you know, there are. And I say it like this: when you go into any other community, they have things that have established a community from the mafia on down, and I'm saying that on camera. The mafia goes and establishes communities, and people go and they get funding from the mafia, which funnels through churches and funnels through different avenues of the government. Yes, that actually happens. So when you look and you say, okay, so who else is putting money into these things? We don't have to go to a mafia. We can create a black mafia, but you know, I think we had one here in Atlanta at one point. But if you go to people, and I know they funded a lot of businesses, but anyway, if you go to you know, our actors, we have, you know, huge movie companies coming here now. We have tons of actors that are in town. We have people who have discretionary funds. And my thought is, you know, why not do something with those funds that is leaving an impact, not just for yourself and your legacy, but to really help somebody else. I mean, it's not like some of the money that I've seen that a lot of, you know, athletes get, even when I worked in sports, you know, to look at the money that they get is ridiculous. They can't spend that in their lifetime, and neither can their kids. But somehow or another, they wind up spending it, and then they have nothing to show for it. I watched Jermaine Dupri go bankrupt here in Atlanta. You know, and I'm saying this because I've seen this happen, and everybody has seen it happen. You watch people like Kanye West go have 3 different weddings. You know, he could have done with that money. And yes, that's his money, and money that he made from rapping. That he can turn around and do what he wants to do.
There's your answer. There's your answer. Because a lot of them, they say, I've made it. Okay?
Right.
And when you've made it from one place to another. So in your mind, you think, okay, I've made it. They become detached. A person can become detached from where they made it from. They made it. Okay? To me, if you ask me, because you hear a lot of people say, well, I'm just giving back. What did you take? You know, that's my question. What did you take? And my thing is, why not just give back along the way? Because if you're really about community, you've already made it. As long as you living, as long as you're doing what you enjoy doing, you take care of your family and whatnot. If you're really about that community.
Okay, Lazone is off mute. Lazone, can you speak?
Can you hear
I hear
me?
you. Lazone, and I need to get from Lazone, and I need to hear from Cynthia on this and get some input as to, if Cynthia's still there, as to what you feel about this.
Feel about?
Oh, what I was saying about where do we go with our community collectively in technology so that our face can be seen, so that we can have an impact, so that we can get more production done, you know, on our side. You know, how do we engage our people and get us, you know, up and running in the tech industry?
Well, you know, it's sort of like eating an elephant. It seems that we're trying to do so much, and we want to do so much, and we're going in so many different directions that there isn't any effort taken on building a core. Everything has some type of core that holds everything else together, and I think that when, like Marcus Garvey, if his vision could have fulfilled itself, he would have been like the Carnival Cruise Lines. We have to look bigger and look at industries other than just a business here, a club there, or a hair salon over there. It's not that those aren't important. But when we look at the facts, is that we have 1.9 million black businesses that are identified by the U.S. Census. That's just a fact. And what we try to do with our program is try to, even if all of those 1.9 million black business owners bought just black greeting cards and calendars from black youth who earned commission on all of those sales, not only would we be transferring a lot of money that normally Hallmark and other companies are making the money now, but we would be able to look, and we have to control at least one industry that is unique to us. And it's not going to, there's a lot of things that we can get involved in, but I think that we have to look at specific industries that we have the easiest opportunity of getting our young people involved in, especially in technology. With the right programming across the nation, in 5 or 7 years, we could send most of our business to young brothers and sisters who could build and maintain our websites, build our apps. It's not going to be overnight, but if we start specific concrete programming right now, so that if my program here is doing something and they happen to move to Atlanta, you know, there would be a similar program that would be there. It's like ballpark wieners don't have different packages just because they're in a store in another state. And so when you are processing the ways that people think, that if young people can come to Kansas and get involved in a program where they can make money by learning skills, whether it's video editing, it could be just adding data into a cloud for another business. This is the type of work that they can do and don't need PhDs and MBAs to do. So when we target an industry such as an ISP, say that you want to, I was working with some young people, and they all have their cell phones. I say, do you buy your minutes? They say yes. I say, about how much do you spend on your minutes per month? They say about $25. They say, now there's about 5,000 black students in the district here that are probably all buying minutes on their cell phone. Now, I'm not good in math, but $25 times 5,000 is a lot of money per month that is coming out of our kids' pockets. But I can't walk around here anywhere and see where any of our black businesses are selling minutes for cell phones.
Ooh.
Now, We have to figure out how to crack into that industry and get our kids buying those minutes from us so we can turn around and give them scholarships, give them jobs, and invest that kind of money. It may not be what I want to do, but there's an entry point there that has a profit margin. And I can hopefully make some money over time and do those things that I need to do. Sometimes it is not what I want to do in business. It's what is the community need me to do in business? Support me. And then I must pledge to be able to give back in a significant way. Jobs, training, things of that nature there. Just going and getting big money from these big companies to give scholarships to a lot of kids to go to HBCUs and even other white-collar schools and different things. It has not changed our economic altitude. So don't get it twisted that education is the key. Sometimes you can go into a place and get miseducated and come out and be in worse shape than when you went in.
Ooh, that is so true. I love that you just said that, because I'm sitting here thinking, I always talk about this. College is not for everybody. And ironically, some of the people who we look at for these top tech companies who are telling people, college is not the way really to go right now. Because when you're spending money on college, you're coming out in a hole, as opposed to, as what Cynthia spoke about last week, go get a certificate in technology. You would actually come out ahead. Whereas she said, I think you said gamification was a certification that you had that's more valuable than your master's degree right now. Yes, miseducation of the Negro entirely. And I agree with that 100%. I think that, and I think you just created a business for somebody, Lazone, because I looked, that's $125,000 that somebody has left on the table for technology to make over our heads. And America, what do you say about that? African Americans, what do you say about that? You spend tons of money. And it was funny because I had a guy that I was involved with last year, and he had a son he bought a tablet for. And at the time, the tablet was so expensive, and I kept thinking to myself, I was like, why would you buy a little kid something that expensive when they're probably going to go tear it up? And I understand the need for the educational tool, but I was sitting there thinking about how much money people spend on their kids, as opposed to producing something that their kids can make money from.
And the companies have us pegged. They know that while we jump from one distraction to another, from Bundy to Sterling, from fire, to scandal, from Holyfield, that it's easy to pull us off base, and we're not focusing on getting some
media hypnosis, right? I agree with you. I talk about that a lot. There's a game in media that they play, and I call it sleight of hand. It's magic. Never let your left hand know what your right hand's doing. So they're always tricking you on this side, but they're not telling you what's going on right here. So, and because you're not paying attention either. But Farries, I think, had to get off.
I'm on here.
Oh, you are? You said, what did you just type? You said, what if all of us in the Hangout bought I know what you're saying. Bought 2 people to the Hangout next time and invited them to do the same thing. That would expand the information, crazy. If we all did the double down theory and we bought 2 people every single time we had another Hangout.
You know what's funny? We do it all the time.
Oh, yeah. Basketball games.
Sunday. We do it every Sunday. We do it on all the events. We do it all the time.
We do it for Scandal. We do it on television. We do it on the internet.
So to say we can't do it or why we ain't, it is puzzling. It do puzzle you because it make you stop and think like, what the heck is going on or what's going on in our minds? Because we actually do it all the time. But
Cynthia said,
up on zero. What? It kind of confuses me.
Cynthia said, at least the miseducation of the Negro, at least it was a tablet and not gym shoes. I'm thinking the same thing now, but I have always had a gripe when I look and I see how much money people spend on kids. Because kids grow out of stuff and they don't play with it, and then you just wasted so much money when you could really be taking that money that people say they don't have, and doing something positive with it. People want to spoil their kids because they didn't have certain things, and I'm like, we suffer severely from the dangling carrot theory that I call it, when in the Willie Lynch letter they talk about how you train a horse, and that's the way you train a slave. You dangle a carrot in front of a horse and you make the horse chase after the carrot. Carrot never is going to get to the horse, but it makes the horse run. And I think, and I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. So prepare yourself, everybody. When they say run, nigga, run, I'm trying to explain that from the understanding of where a slave was trained, that this dangling carrot has always been in front of our face. And so people go after this dangling carrot thinking that they can go and attain it. And like you said earlier, it's not actual wealth. You may get riches, but you're not getting wealthy. And my thought is, with all the money, and I use the hip hop community for this example a lot, for all the money that we've seen go through hip hop, how many of those people could have set aside $1,000 and built an entire community, or actually purchased continents, or purchased islands, and actually helped build full communities on the island, or gone into places like Haiti and actually contributed to the downturn of Haiti?
Some of them did try. And they tried. If you said Haiti, I'll give you another good example of what Wyclef tried, and what a political party joined with Wyclef attempted and tried.
I know what Wyclef tried. Now you can explain this, but I actually know another side to this. But I need to get
here's my whole point. Here's my whole point is that when you have when you get a contract of them numbers. Let's say $50 million, $100 million. That whole contract don't just come straight to you. There's a lot of people on that payroll for one, and there's a lot of expenses involved in that contract that have to be paid out. That's one. So that now, you want to make millions of dollars along the way, but then what you do and how you spend it is going to also take away from it. If you're not spending it just like putting that seed into that ground, which is going to yield forth that harvest for the next season, you ain't going to have it. And then, two, when you don't have the institutions to work with where you can trust, there is a lot of still real thieves in the world.
True.
So people take away from a lot of these artists that get this money. That's one of the worst things you can have is a whole lot of money and no protection. Because if everybody's trying to get money in a capitalist society, they're gonna be looking for you. you don't even gotta have $100 million. You can hit the lottery for $50 million, and every cousin in the neighborhood is gonna find you.
Oh,
you know that.
Totally.
And every marketer is going to find you.
And every company will find. Well, listen. Let me get to Cynthia, because Cynthia's been waiting quietly, and I haven't gotten to Cynthia. And then I'll come back and answer what LaDonna just posted. Cynthia, are you with us still?
Oh, yeah.
Cynthia's been waiting so quiet and patient. Can you throw your spin on this, your take on where we should go forward? What do you think we should do going forward?
Well, the conversation has kind of evolved and twisted and turned around. But, one thing that stayed in my mind is that charity starts at home. And I think that we have to look at it from a perspective of any mainstream investment. For example, people come to me all the time about, I just had someone call me recently because he knows of my experience writing grants and being out there in fund development. And he wanted to know if I knew of any grant that he could get to help him complete his PhD. And my question was, why would anybody want to fund your PhD?
Good question.
We have that mentality in our community, and we've kind of talked about it a little bit before, where it comes from, which I think a lot comes from organized religion, that mindset of, if I just wait on the Lord, something's going to fall out of the sky and somebody's going to put something in my hand and I don't have to do anything for it. And so for me personally, because I get hit up all the time, I just got hit up by a friend of mine last week. Well, I need a marketing plan. I need some help. I got this great idea, and I says, well, okay, here are 3 things you need to do. and then you come back and ask me after you've done that. Because I know that when stuff falls out of the sky, we typically don't appreciate it or use it or work it. And so the same applies to the SBA or any other lender. If you go to the bank, any lender is going to want to know what investment have you already made. So I fall on the side with Lazone. We need to start in our own communities, look at where we're already spending money, and see how we can collectively form companies and move some of that money in that direction, and then grow out from there.
Somebody gave you a round of applause.
Definitely, yeah. Because I agree with LaDonna. Quit waiting on Superman.
Superman ain't coming.
Because Farries already said Superman is here, and Superman is in each and every one of us. We are all Superman. We are all God. Greater things were in He that are in us than was in He. So we can accomplish a whole lot more. Just with the mindset. But I think in our community, we really have to start with some grassroots education. Go back and start educating people on the dangers of being consumers, and show them how, if you stop consuming, and a lot of people say save, that's not going to cut it. That's just like saying just say no to sex. It's not going to happen. So if that is too funny. If we go in our community and maybe we need a just say no to consuming campaign.
Oh, preach.
Talk to people about how they spend their money, and show them how, if you redirect the money you're spending, because a lot of us are depressed and we spend money because we think it's going to take us out of the depression that we're in. We're watching TV, we see the neighbor down the street putting $100 tennis shoes on their kid, and we can't afford it, and so to tell us, well, don't spend any money, that's just we had to bring in some psychologists so that we can get into the mindset. But show our community how to redirect their funds so that it goes back in their pocket, not mine. Because if you come and tell me, well, look, give me this, help me get my business off the ground, once again, why? But hey, I'm going to show you how you can build your future, or how you can change your own life. Maybe we'll get some ears.
I like that, and I think that's something that something that I'm really proactive in trying to do. I think I was telling Farries, when I do things, I do them differently than the way I seen them done, only because I see the flaw in what has happened with a lot of things where they become commercialized and less connected for the purpose of actually making something beneficial to everybody who's involved. So instead of doing just a talk show and having fun, and talking about things that are irrelevant, I'm going to bring people on to talk about things that are relevant to them, but also maybe relevant to somebody else out there that's paying attention. They may have a question about, so that it'll start more conversation about it. Instead of doing a regular networking event where you charge people $10 to $20 to get in, do something that's going to benefit those people that show up and actually pay to get in there, that they can walk away with instead of exchanging business cards. That's not all you do in networking. There's so much more that you can have come from a whole networking platform. I mean, you could set up trust funds right there within the group of people who are actually doing something. You could have businesses built from a collective population of people who have the same mindset while you're sitting there. And it's just, the last thing that I did when I was up on a microphone, grabbed a few people and I asked them, I was like, well, what is it that you do? So I gave them the microphone. People were flipping out at first. They were like, I don't want to get on the microphone. I was like, but don't you have a business? Here's a whole population of people. Somebody in here might want to know what you do. So I turned it into a networking event. We had like 2 hours open free, so I just did it. And it made sense. So, and people appreciated it. it boosted my appearance, but at the same time, it helped a whole bunch of people in the room connect for the purpose of business and not just for passing out business cards. So, you know, it was a lady who had an event, and it was a charity event. She invited half the room. Nobody even knew who she was when she walked in there, so it was huge for her, you know. And to find out, you know, what is it that maybe we can do for each other as opposed to, you know, trying to just help myself.
There you go.
To be the resource for each other. And it may not be, you know, because I know Farries, and here's something, you know, I could just say this. What I see a deficit of within our community, we have a ton of unemployed people, and they're not all entrepreneurs. A lot of people don't have ambition. But if you give them a job, they'll go work for it. So when you have people who are... Hold on, wait a minute. When you have a group of people who are not people with that type of ambition, there are people who need salespeople. You know, if you have an open platform and you say, okay, well, I have bags that I can now go position. Let's turn some of these people who are unemployed into people who can go and work and go sell these products. They do it with MLM companies every single day. And that's all it is. They're grabbing some people who are unemployed and looking for more money to go and say, okay, well, I represent this product and I'm going to go do this on my, either in my free time or whenever, you know, I can. You know, and I'm going to take your product and now go market it. Every business needs somebody to go out and pitch for them. And all you have to do is now train those people to be you. You know, and so the passion that you have, Farries, you know, to communicate that to a population, a room of people, and say, listen, I'm hiring people. What's your job? Well, you know, we have these bags. We're going to go market them. And I have a product. You have a product. And that's something that people need to understand. You have a product that can be sold and can be marketed and can be positioned out to more people. And I'm giving this away for free advice. I don't do that. So, you know, to be able to say to people...
Well, Cairo, this is the thing. Look, okay, when you talk about coming together as a group, and we all talking about what we need to do, and we need to come together, okay? Coming together don't mean just coming together for Farries. It don't mean it just coming together for Cairo. It don't mean to come together for Lazone or anybody else. It means coming together with all of our needs in mind. In other words, me having your needs in mind, what you are trying to accomplish that you probably can't accomplish in this area. Like, I'm in Chicago. I don't know where the other people are. You're in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Just imagine. Microsoft got a store in LA, New York, Chicago, Atlanta, and other places, right? And they're building out every day, right? So just imagine if you had like that event we was talking about at the Microsoft store. If somebody was doing it in Atlanta, somebody was doing it in California, somebody was doing it in Chicago, and somebody was doing it in New York, all from this same group. Do you know what kind of impact that would be instantaneously?
I do. Absolutely.
Okay, and that's not complicated, and that's not a complicated thing to do by just staying connected, working together. And then the power from that, because that's actually at retail. You understand what I'm saying?
Totally.
So it's not like a person. For instance, when a person, when you give out like a Coke machine, let's say a Coca-Cola machine, or a bubble. Let's take a bubblegum machine. A bubblegum machine to someone in Atlanta, that becomes their territory. Some of those, if you've seen how that fed families when they did those strategies with those little bubblegum machines, Coca-Cola machines or whatever, and gave them that territory, that was giving them wealth, basically. So when I talk about like giving or connecting with people in certain areas, it's because it cuts my cost of trying to fly to every state to position a product. Why not work with people, give them the opportunity to have that territory, and then they develop that in that area? You see what I'm saying? That creates wealth. That creates sales. That creates growth.
Well, that's what I just said. What you do, and these are sales forces. That's all it is. You create sales teams. And what I'm saying is that there are tons of people that I see every single day that are entrepreneurs, including including all the tech guys that I know. They've created these apps, and they need to get somebody to pay it attention. And my thought was, okay, you have tons of people who are unemployed. If they can go out and sell your app for you, why don't you give them a percentage of the sale? Or you could pay them up front to go and scout the app for you, and get it out to certain people if you have that in your budget. But I mean, there are people who are still willing to work for commission. I see people do it all the time on Craigslist. They do it. Dr. Claude Anderson has a commission thing, the MTNC, or was it MT? What's it called? MCA. That's a commission job. Any of these groups that you have to buy into, Melaleuca, Organo Gold, those are all commission jobs, and they're paying to do it. Those people are paying to get into these organizations, buy a product, and literally go market it and hope that they have a return on investment. And because they believe in the sale and they believe in the turnaround, they go out and pitch it, and everybody knows the people who get it on the front end make the money. I watched Clear Wireless did the same thing here in Atlanta. They had dominated like 100,000 homes by the time they fell off. So I don't know where they are.
Hoover vacuum cleaners, Avon, Mary
Kirby
Kay
vacuums, right?
Day, and it's multi-billion-dollar industry. Who was that? The guy that did not Johnson and Johnson, but Fuller Hair Care brush products. Because I used to do Fuller Hair Care brush products.
Dudley Hair Products.
Dudley. All started the
Bonner
same.
Brothers.
Now,
right.
What did they have when they went and did their pitch in their hand? They had a bag full of.
Yes, sir. Is that Lazone?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's getting right back to what I was saying before, that miseducation. We're groomed in this culture in America to be wage earners and not really understand residual commission and leveraged income. That's why so many people, when they lose their job, they have a tendency of sitting back waiting for somebody to create a job for them. They'll wait for a chamber of commerce or a city to bring a big company into their city so they can compete for a job. They've sat in cubicles for 6x6 or 8x8 for so long that they have lost their creativity. And it's just, that's part of the education system that really has our own young people locked in, because we have probably 4 decades of adults who may have master's degrees, PhDs, bachelor's degrees, very in debt in colleges that they can't pay for, can't get jobs for. And they are sort of the victims of, they played by the rules, they went to college, they got a degree. Now kids, they just either want a handout, want a job, and kids at my age could be in their 30s. It's like, oh, I'm not going to work unless I can get a check. And you're talking about commission income. My insurance salesman is on commission. People sell cars on commission. So when people don't understand the other wealth building, principles such as residual and commission income, especially young people, if we start teaching young people about how this is wealth built today, then they become a better salesperson for your product, my product, anybody else's product. But it will also give them the type of communication skills, even if it's just them applying for a job. Most young people cannot hold with another adult outside of their home, because many adults inside their home isn't holding articulate conversations. And so by the time that they are 16 and they're going out and trying to get that job, they are not articulate. Do they want to work? Yes. Would they be able to leave? But when you have a Hispanic immigrant, but they came in and were articulate and not understanding what was being said, those are the people who normally get the job. So it's not just working on the adults that we have today. If we are going to change the future, we have to start having something that starts educating our young value of commission and residual income, so that when they can't get a job, you
cut off on this.
Lazone, you're coming in and out. Lazone, are you with us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Now I can, yes.
But that was it.
Cairo, can I say something quickly in
Oh,
response to
absolutely.
what Lazone
Everybody, you
said?
don't have to ask. Just feel free to. This is a Google Hangout. We're open.
I know, and I agree with Lazone, but I also want us to not forget about the situations that a lot of our families are in. And when you talk about commission-based, even residual income, which I'm 100% behind, that does require some upfront resources. And a lot of our families, they are not going to have gas money. I've been in sales. I know what it takes to sell. You have to get out there. You have
Yes.
to have gas money to go and call on potential customers. Now, you can do a lot from the phone, but eventually you have to have some resources to get out there and sell. And so a lot of our families, because of the situations that we find ourselves in, need immediate resources. And one reason that they're not able to always take advantage of some of the opportunities that we're talking about right now is because they really don't even have the basic resources that are needed to keep their families together.
Okay,
So,
can I say something right there? Can I say something right there? What you just said, which was well said, and it was because as working in sales, and you know the salesman deal, you got to beat the pavement, get turned down a million times. So it takes time for you to really get up your residuals anyway, right? But you said something right there, and we're hanging out here right now on Google Hangout. That's the power of technology. It used to take more resources. Now it takes less, thanks to technology. Because just like we're doing this here, if I was to just reach over to this other piece and then pull out my bag and make a presentation right now, right, I can make a presentation to 4 people in one spot. Now imagine if each one of you was a buyer. See, I can make more sales with less today thanks to technology. But we have to really take advantage of it. Like
There you go.
if you have something to offer, Lazone, or even if you brought an entrepreneur from your community, you found some young entrepreneur, old or young, in your community, a black-owned business, and brought them to this Google Hangout and said, "This is what so and so do," and then let's share it, okay? And then find a way to say, "Oh, you make peanut butter, okay? Great. How much is your jar of peanut butter?" Then we can know where that jar of peanut butter at. He can put it online, and we can order it.
All
That's
right.
simple
So
it is today. Everything is digital design, digital manufacturing, and digital marketing and sales. I can reach more people right now than anything.
this is why we're doing this specifically, Fairies, because what I have done, and I think I told you about when I did the survey, the more people I've surveyed, the more people that have absolutely no clue that this stuff even exists, that they know how to operate it. They look and they see go-to meetings, they get on them all the time, but don't realize they can do it themselves.
Right.
And this is the thing that we have to communicate to people, because I think I've mentioned Trevor Otts and Shay Brown. They actually have a setup where they teach people via YouTube and Facebook, how to actually sell, broke marketing, things like that. And you look and you see where these people have now generated books that are selling at $997 online, and people are buying them. But it's just because they have tapped into the use of technology, whereas the everyday person is not there yet. And that's what I'm saying. This is exactly where my whole conversation is going. How do we find that black face, that African American face, and put it on technology right now? How do we get those people who are everyday people and they're not paying attention and bring them into a sales force that can be held here online? Yes, and I agree with Cynthia, because there are people who do not have the ability ability right now to be able to go out and do what they have to do, or catch a train or ride a bus because maybe their medication might be too high and they don't have the extra funds to do that stuff and get around. I mean, people live vicariously through me online for all the stuff that I do, and I know this. I don't have the ability to get out. I don't have the funds to get out here. I can't go to that place. They live in rural areas and don't have the bus systems. My sister says this to me all the time. The system that we have for transportation is not like what you have in Atlanta. And I'm sitting here thinking in Atlanta, our system sucks. But I know where I'm from in Colorado is way worse than what they have here. Their system shuts down at 5 o'clock. So what do you do after 5 o'clock when you try to get to a job, or you're trying to get somewhere across the city? And this is in a place where we have blizzards regularly, you know, where systems and streets shut down regularly because you're not safe to drive on them, you know, in places where there are cliffs that drop off on the side of the road, you know. These are not things that you can actually just walk around, and we have bears and mountain lions out there, you know. Not a place where you can just do a foot commute at. You could, you know, if you're brave, on a regular basis, go from one side of Colorado to the next. But, you know, these are things that you have to think about. We live in these metropolitan cities. And to look at these people now and to say, how do we build these salespeople? We do have the resource. How do we get in touch with them? Facebook. Because everybody is on Facebook. They say 59% of Americans are not on Facebook and social media, but the ones that are, each one could reach one. And I like the conversation about everybody bringing 2 people to the table, because what if we did start to do trainings here and we started to say, okay, well, every single day when we bring people back to these classes, we'll charge them $1. If I had people, let's say we tapped into a resource of 1 million people that might pay attention to our Google Hangout, right? 1 million people at $1 is $1 million. People who are sitting here training everybody, we have a full salary. You know, we'd have a full salary for training people to be sales forces for our individual companies.
That's why I said it begins with us, and really putting our minds together with the intent to really help each other.
And I mean, forget the industry. You know, we don't need the industry. We're and I'd say the people who I have on this call right here are brilliant. I know that. You know,
Lazone.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to see. He was saying something.
Yeah, I was just going to step back, and I do understand what Cynthia was talking about as far as people not having the means really to do things, especially within their neighborhood economic condition. One of the things that I also acknowledge, though, is that we still have a $1 trillion spending habit, and a lot of that money is money from the ghetto. It is not that we don't have money a lot of times. It's just the way that we have come to prioritize the money that we spend. Now, I always use the Girl Scout cookies as an example, and I know that technology can level playing fields, but that old school door-to-door neighborhood control territory thing isn't going to go anywhere. Now, when I use the example of Girl Scouts don't go online to sell cookies, although they do sell $500 million worth of cookies every year. That's an industry, social enterprise type of industry. It is, they have perfected a model where they get parents and young people. It is not about money, it's about building character in the young girl. Now, if girls could actually make money off of the cookies that they sell in their neighborhoods, they would probably be better off. Not only are they going to get the skills anyway, but they're going to earn a little bit of money. And so when I try to keep my ideas, there are adults who have health issues. Everyone's not going to be in sales. So a lot of times when I do speak about young people and trying to start getting them at a younger age so that they don't become the older, placent, you know what I'm saying, adult
complacent
population that we have right now, because it is the adult population with that $1 trillion spending habit that is making a subconscious choice not to spend with us. And all the money in the world and the marketing and the technology in the world can't change that. If we had young black kids from a neighborhood of 100 black households They should be the ones going door to door every year, selling black greeting cards and calendars to that neighborhood every year. In over 5 or 7 years, that they would grow into that community. The community would grow into looking forward to them come, just like people buy Girl Scout cookies. They buy them because they're looking forward to them from coming. And so it's not going to cure all, but I am saying that we have to start somewhere.
Lazone,
I agree with that 100%.
Lazone, that actually happened. I was one of those kids that sold Fuller Hair Care brush products, that sold Grit magazine, and that sold Fuller Hair. Well, we went to do Kirby, but at a young age, sold different black-owned products. You remember the little magazine that used to come to the house? I don't know if you remember the magazine come to the house with all the different clothes and stuff in it. It was a catalog, shopping catalog.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't JCPenney. This was a black-owned company where you buy those canes, you buy them Stacey Adams and all the different stuff. But they had those shopping catalogs, and that actually happened. Ebony Jet magazine used to publish the Ebony encyclopedias. They used to come to the house and sell those. And at one point in time, I even sold some of those. So it happened. We just got away from it, the grassroots marketing, but today here it is where it really takes the two. Technology is not going to solve everything, okay? And then the grassroots marketing can be a little bit limited. But when you combine the two in a practical way, you'll get the best of both worlds. Because you get, just like we got 4 people here, and I know that Cynthia said everybody don't have the the resources for net access and stuff. But here's the thing: one person may have. So opening up that window, you can share that technology with the right people, just as way I did in Harlem, New York, when I went into some not-for-profit organizations, 100 and some years old. They had no clue about the technology, totally dinosaurs. But that one computer, and it was half a laptop, that one computer, I went in there and opened them up to the world.
I think where you might actually, I was thinking when Cynthia was speaking, actually, where we actually have a point, and it's funny that Lazone used that. I actually used that same example of Girl Scouts when I was speaking to Farries the other day. But when I look and I say, okay, well, if we don't have the ability to travel, we have phones and we have internet access, we can send emails, we can call, and then we can have a team that is built right, and I'll use an example, Farries, to have a sales force. So where you're doing online trainings, like I said, to replicate your passion amongst your sales team, you have a daily sales meeting with your sales force online. And if they're not online, get on the phone with them and do the team building like they do with the MLM companies. And so all you're doing is replicating your passion into other people. And you, of course, are a techie, so there's a way for you to set up a PayPal payment for people, to be able to receive and send and actually have proof of payment. PayPal is great for that. And that's why I always tell people, like, PayPal is actually safer than dealing with your bank, except when you talk about eBay. But anyway, but to look and to say, you have a sales force you can create by phone. You have those people who can call and do cold calling, and everybody can have their percentage of sale based off of getting that product out to actual market. So the team that is put together underneath one group of 5, you have a person on the phone, or 2 people on the phone, you have a person that works the email, and you have a foot soldier that's out there going door to door with the information that they've now had as a warm lead, kind of like ADT does for the security.
Do you know that that's how Carl Kanai did? Carl Kanai, Midwest sales rep, Greg McGowan, was the #1 sales rep for Carl Kanai. He operated out of his house. His showroom was in his living room. He didn't have a living room with furniture and stuff. He had a living room with a showroom for those clothes, for those buyers to come over there and get those buyers. Greg grew that concept into, and Carl Kanai and them, they also did it because they reached out like that, and it did all the way to California. Greg sales was so tight and so close, so great, to where Greg ended up getting Sean John and then Dawson Gabbana. True story. Greg McGowan. Okay, who did exactly what you were talking about, and then went out and made the stores in the community his reps. So now you have a central, you have a location, and then you got Tony Sports and all these different Foot Locker and all these different people where he got them shopping out of his living room.
I mean, there's no need. I'm a big person on overhead. I just don't see the need for it. I know a lot of people have this desire where they have to meet people face to face. I keep trying to get people away from that because you're wasting gas. Like, you can get on a camera. You can get a free phone number from Google Voice. You know, get on a camera. You can do the Google Hangout for free. You can sit up and talk. And there's so many other platforms you can utilize for free. And talk to people face to face. Hence the name of the show, the Google Hangout. But, you know, talk to people face to face and actually have the same experience with the person that we're having now, you know, as opposed to having to sit and have dinner and lunch and coffee and tea with them so you can maybe just shake their hand. For what? You know, we're in a different time frame now, you know, time and gas costs a lot.
Let's say this, Lazone and Cynthia, I think LaDonna left, and CAIRO. You have a product and you have a service, or a product or a service. Am I correct? LaZone?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Cynthia, you have a product or a service?
Yep.
Hello?
Sure do.
Okay. What is it that you have that may lend itself to the Chicago market?
She's a tech diva.
Yeah, that's my handle. But I have educational programs, and I just put in a shameless plug of my 10-year-old's website, because what Lazone was talking about is actually what I'm doing in my own community. So my 10-year-old now has 2 people who works for him, and he is a lot more generous than I am, but he went out and secured a lawn job. He charged the man $10, and he splits it between himself. He gets $3, and he gives his 2 friends who work for him $3, and he puts $1 back into the program, which is the Mini Mogul Club that I started out here teaching them about entrepreneurship. So I think
Where are you?
I'm out in Southern California.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I'm actually from from Chicago, and this is kind of a sidetrack, but it's my opportunity to throw this in because I had talked to CAIRO just the other day about putting together a special Google Hangout simply to talk about how we can use technology to support the young pastor out there that's trying to put 5,000 men on the street. And now he wants to include women. He's talking about putting 5,000 women on the street also this summer. So that's a sidetrack. We don't have to talk about that now, but I would love to engage you, Farries, in that discussion, because I think we can, you know, when people see the role models, that's one thing we need to do more of, is role model, and a little less chatting and a little bit more role modeling. And so when they see the role models, they will jump on board no matter what. We don't have to convince them of anything. The only reason right now we have to kind of convince people is because they really can't see it. They don't necessarily have a visual. If we put together this hangout and then share that and say, look, here's 10 ways technology can help you in your vision to put 5,000 people on the street, folks will listen up.
Well, I'm all for it. Connecting and networking, because that's where it starts. The resources that I have, and I can use up here, if I can spread word about what you're doing, and they can connect, as long as they can connect with you online, and you can deliver whatever it is that you have, that's what it's about. And at times when I was in New York. That's what I would do, and that's how I begin to find work, and that's how I became to be the go-to person. We did a youth entrepreneur program. It was called Dream Catchers Youth Entrepreneurship Program. We did a lot of great work, and connected with the which was it, the Action Network as well through that, and all the way up to the Congressional Black Caucus. Yeah, we did things up in there, and it's all online. The funny thing is that it's all documented. So we're doing that. Carver National Bank, or Carver Federal Bank, excuse me, sponsored some of our events. We did lemonade stands, and we took them out into the community and taught them how to, create a product and sell it. And it's a long story, a little more to go to it, which I'll talk about at a different time. But if it's something that can show, or that's of good and is productive, I'm all for it. So sharing some of your information, I have the time while I'm moving around at different events. That's an easy thing, because all I'm gonna need is just your information. So if I had like your flyer, you got a promotional pieces.
Oh yeah, I do. Sure.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then in return, I got some information to drive people to my product or website or whatever, and that's what I would expect on your end. In other words, we trade and barter the services. This reaches out and grabs more people. Wait a minute. Okay. Hello?
Hello?
Yep. I love cross promoting. I think it's a key.
Yeah. And see, that's a part of what that showcase, that bag, the new bag you're going to see is all about. It's all about showcasing the individual. Actually, the elevator pitch it's kind of like you have to know your business, of course, but it's going to take a lot of that out, because it'll do your presentation for you. You just show up, and this particular product is going to do it for you. You already have it pre-done. So your sales pitch would be right there.
Cool. That sounds great. And I'm actually teaching the elevator pitch to a group of students starting on Wednesday, so that they can use it in their scholarship portfolio when they are looking to attract scholarships. So that elevator pitch is not just for businesses.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That pitch is good for way outside of just businesses. Your oratorical should be practiced, and you should really do it actually in front of a camera, so you can see yourself and boost up your confidence for when you're speaking to someone in general. And it's something I used to do, which got me in a lot of trouble because I ended up in a lot of trouble, put it that way, using my oratorical and really not paying attention at a time. But learning your sharpening your communication skills is going to sharpen you as an individual, and that's what sales is. Everybody in every corporation, every entrepreneur needs a salesperson. Period. So those skills are definitely important. And today, with a lot of kids online that don't know how to really promote themselves in a professional manner, it's bad.
Man, do you know what type of impact? I mean, just with all of us that are here, what type of impact could be made on the now generation? The generation that is coming up with I'm the question mark. So the other people, I guess they just, I forgot what they call them, but I think they're like the I don't care or something like that generation. But to look and to see where, you know, we have a lady who is an educator and a tech educator on top of that. We have a gentleman who is a product designer, you know. We have a lady who is not only a volunteer, but a community representative and a high-impact youth organizer. We have a gentleman who is a community leader and 5 seconds from being a politician. And then, of course, you got your media, women-owned media broadcast tech platform. You know, you have a whole source of a full network here of resources, and actually we could have a networking event and actually do a job fair online, literally just between what we have right here. And create those sales forces. And I mean, we're coming up on, you know, 3 hours now, I believe. But what I like to do is to try to close this out and leave everybody individually. Please leave something for everybody to, you know, go home with and marinate on. And that we need to come up with a topic, because I don't have a topic for next week. I do have an idea of what I want to do, but I haven't sent it out far enough yet. So I think I'll do that in 2 weeks. But a topic for next week. This to me was so impactful. The things that happen with Google and diversification and diversity within the Google company, and that has been put on the media platform for the whole world to see. And then, of course, again, what the mayor of Atlanta took back from Silicon Valley and brought to Atlanta with his new tech agenda to make tech hubs here. Now, I guess I can go down the line. Cynthia, Farries, you want to call? No, I'm not gonna call you that. LaDonna, and Lazone, because the two L's are together. But you know, I would like to go and get your last words, and of course, please plug your business and tell people where they can reach you at as usual, you know, and what people should take away from this. And anybody can start, actually.
Okay, I guess I'll be first. Farries Maxwell. Pretty much you can Google my intellectual property, which is Farries, Farries, Maxwell.
Maxwell.
That'll give you some information on me, and you can Google that name, and you'll find it. You'll find pretty much me online in and around New York, Chicago, and Washington. Over the last 5 to 10 years, you'll find a lot of stuff. You can go way back for a while because I was documenting as I moved along. I'm in the process of building my website out now. I've shown you, CAIRO. It's not published yet because I'm just a little picky about that and how I'm going to do it. I'm trying to wait to the right moment to do so. But you should also connect with me on Facebook and Twitter. I also run a Look Who's Poppin' project, which is a branding project I'm doing for an entrepreneur here in the Chicagoland area.
You can tell about that, can't you?
Hmm?
Can you tell about that?
Yeah, well, the Look Who's Poppin' project is a local entrepreneur who has a popcorn truck, just like the ice cream truck, and the focus is to sell ice cream. He sells popcorn in the area, in the Chicagoland area, the same way that the ice cream truck passes through the community, except his is popcorn. So what we decided to do is give him a more branded look and a campaign. His campaign is that which I said, Look Who's Poppin'. The idea is to franchise those trucks and eventually have one in Atlanta, one in California, one in New York, and about 4 or 5 trucks to start with. And all of that information, all of those trucks will send back information through one website. That's the tech side of it. So the concept is to promote artists right now and entrepreneurs in our Look Who's Poppin' campaign. So the information that you guys have, and it's you know, that you want to get out in this area, I'll take some time and spread some information out. I can't say I'm gonna spread all your information, and you know, especially for free, but I can spread some information for you. If you get me some information, I'll get it out and show you my due diligence, and what I can do, and then possibly we can do something else in the future down there or where you guys are at.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Farries Maxwell. That's Farries, Maxwell, Maxwell. Something about those Maxwells. High five. Anyway, inside joke. So, anyway, moving on to the next person. And who wants to go next with the send off and plug for your business?
Hey, I'll go next. This is Cynthia Renee Frazier. You can find me on Facebook, and I'm really excited to have the opportunity tonight to chat with everybody. It's really been a blast, and a long one at that. So anytime you
Right.
to CAIRO, you got to have some time. So, my thing is, I'm the lucky one because I'm on Pacific Standard Time, so I still have time to go eat dinner. You guys got to go straight to bed.
And I didn't eat either, and I'm like, I'm hungry.
Exactly. But no, I'm just very excited about what tech can do. And, I always say, just jump in. The water's fine. There's no need to wait. So whatever it is that anyone has in mind to accomplish, they can do it. So it's just get out there and do it.
That's my hashtag, everybody. The hashtag is jump in, the water's fine. Love that. That's going to be awesome. You got the hashtag for the day.
You're on Facebook, right?
Huh?
Cynthia?
Yes, I'm getting ready to connect you all now. I'm going to do a post, my thank you post, and I'll connect everybody. You just jump on her name and click the blue link. Thank you, Cynthia. Cynthia Renee Frazier. Cynthia Renee Frazier out in Southern. It never rains in Southern California. Tech Divas Uncorked and Girls Got Geeked. Thank you so much. And we got to come back and talk more about Tech Divas Uncorked and wine and technology. Because I am actually getting ready to start Taste of Technology again. BTW, so just a plug for that. Look out for Taste of Technology coming and Tech Divas Uncorked. And who is next on the line of the exit door?
Well, I think I will jump in here and
LaDonna Jacey?
Yes, I was thinking as Cynthia actually was speaking, to just start right where you are. And just take a step forward and don't move back. And I think you will really be surprised, at the journey. So don't allow fear, or thinking that it is impossible. And just, there's a saying that, people say, well, if I can just help one, I think it would be unfortunate if you could just help one. Because, one can change 1,000. So, we each have the ability to do that. So, for me, I'm here in Richmond, Virginia, and
oh, you're out that way, huh?
yes, and you will find me hanging out all over kids and kids hanging out all over me.
Do you ever go to the Lockheed Martin events?
I can't hear you.
Do you ever go to the Lockheed Martin events?
No.
Hold on, let her finish. We'll talk about that later.
And you can find online. You can go to heroesacademy.com, and I'll post the link there. And during the day, so to speak, where we can serve you through the financial services industry. So, life insurance, annuities, 401ks, all of that good stuff, personal and businesses, key business insurance, the whole dime. We can come in and we can provide financial education to your business, to your church. That's one of the things. And then my site is the Building Bridges Academy, which was really nice, and it was optimized, but it wasn't complete.
Your site is what?
The other site is the buildingbridgesacademy.com, and it was nice and pretty and optimized, and it wasn't converting at all. So I'm redoing that so that it does what it needs to do for there. See, I'm not a techie, and I learned that. That's what a website is supposed to do. It's supposed to convert, and mine was not. So that's where I am on Facebook. I'm LaDonna Jacey if you want to connect with me there. So I'm around if you want. And I'm always looking to just make somebody else's life better, and in the process, mine gets better. So
that's the good spirit.
That's about it for me.
LaDonna is the angel of technology. Hey, coin that. The angel of technology.
I like that. Hashtag.
Hashtag the angel. The tech angel. There we go. There's your nickname, Tech Angel. But yeah, I mean, LaDonna does some big things with, youth in technology, and I think that's awesome. And I'm really proud of all of you guys. Lazone, are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
All right, Lazone, I guess you can do your send off for everyone and drop your plugs and information so everybody will know once again who Lazone Gray is out in Kansas.
Lazone, I'm in main office is in Topeka, Kansas, but I work the regional area here. IBSA Incorporated is our nonprofit organization. We're celebrating 23 years. And right now, I'm not going to elaborate everything that we do. Contract with government to help people get jobs, but they also help in them starting their businesses, especially if they're low-income single parents on voc rehab receiving assistance. So trying to make sure that people get access to the resources that are available for them if they do have the entrepreneurial bug and skill sets, and so that not everyone can just get a job because they're receiving assistance. And focusing on a big effort now on the youth IT enterprise program that I would like to, we've been working on it for 20 years and sort of launching it here in Topeka, Kansas City, hopefully work with Brother Arlie with the Better Youth Detroit movement. And that website.
You know Arlie, huh?
Yeah. And Brother Hotep with Hustle University. We partnered some of his books with.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking around. Other people are doing some great things and how to bring what they're doing into our Streets University student model, so that we're sharing the young people that we're working with. So that's pretty much what I'm doing. We are going to be aggressively tackling that, teaching young people residual and commission income, creating products and services for them to sell that they can build and sell, and finding business partners that have products and services for them to sell for a respectable commission.
That deserves a round of applause, definitely. Producer. That was supposed to be a round of applause.
Hello?
You're supposed to give a round of applause for that.
No.
There you go. This one was late.
In closing out, what we want to do is we want to draw in that our time has dwindled down, and we got everybody with their closeouts and their plugs to where everybody can be contacted and their .coms, and we actually formulated some sort of business structure while we were here. Let's see what happens with that, because that actually could be something beneficial. Drum roll, please. I love that. And so, going forward, what we want to do is to maybe try to put some things in motion. So we'll have a meeting and try to maybe figure some things out from here. And funny thing, I need to send a shout out to the Urban Tech Fair. Even though I didn't get to do my interview yesterday, we still, all these people I've connected with through the Urban Tech Fair, ironically. And these are marvelous people, marvelous, brilliant, intelligent, people who are doing things. They're not just talking, they do it. So, I'm really excited about that. I love to see the upward mobility, and I love to see even better the prosperity that's going to come from this unification in people. And so, yes, utilizing tech to make a better tomorrow, I think that will lead me into next week's conversation, because this week for me is Futurist Week. I'm a futurist, and so I love to talk about technology of the future. I'm an ultra geek. Want to talk Star Wars, we'll talk about all that. The Matrix, love that too. Next week we're going to get into the future. So that'll just be my plain, flat-out topic, the future of technology. And we can leave that wide open, because that can go absolutely anywhere. There's so much technology. We talked about nanotech last week, and we went berserk with Cynthia, So, of course, I'm CAIRO Queen. You've now been with us face-to-face, and I really appreciate you joining us, and I hope that you learned something. Thank you for learning with me. Remember, smart is the new cool. The future is absolutely now. And, here we are, we're doing this, and we're moving forward. And I want you to tune in to us next week. I'm guessing I'm going to do this every Monday now, because Monday feels comfortable for me to do this. But every Monday, let's go forward and let's build on technology. So, again, CAIRO Queen. Find me on Twitter at CAIRO Queen. That's CAIROQWEEN. You can email me at the same thing, CAIROQueen@gmail.com. Find me on Facebook, 2 words, CAIRO Queen, QWEEN, or the link is facebook.com/Invisible Resource Group, or my fan page is facebook.com/GoLiveCQ, go live like on TV, or I Broadcast Enterprises. So you have those pages. You can find some of the groups. I broadcast events, opening at gigs. I got a whole bunch of other groups, so I won't even name all that stuff. But Instagram, I'm on I Broadcast, Instagram.com/I like ice cream, broadcast like media. And then Pinterest, I'm CAIRO Queen. What other apps are there? Anyway, so find me and all that stuff, aboutme.com/I Broadcast. Yeah. And of course the website, my new website that I'm still working on. It's there and it's out, Farries. It's out and I'm still working on it. That's www.techsocialite.info, like information, because I'm an information activist. That's techsocialite.info. Find me there, and you can also find me out and about. Don't forget to tune in to some of the great things that are happening. I got to give a big plug to some of the things that I've been working with. The Fashion Night Out, that was cool. I want to give a plug to, there are a bunch of people I could plug right now, but I can't remember. So thank you to everybody who's been supporting me, all the cool people who were on, LaDonna, Cynthia, Deanna Troupe, who had to get off. She couldn't get her electronics were giving her an issue. So, and I understand that. I was told today I need to wear copper under a watch so that I can control my energy, the output to technology, which is something new for me. I can't seem to get things to work. Boss Lady May, I'll be hosting her grand opening for her TV network coming soon, and that'll be on June the 26th. In Douglasville, and so we'll be doing a broadcast from there. I believe it'll be great. Lots of great things going on. Energy in the air, because we are up and coming. I have a $100,000 crowdfunding that I'll be releasing. I was going to do it today, but I left for too long, so it'll probably be tomorrow that I'll release that. If you want to buy one of my iTunes memes, I did a meme of myself. I'm selling them now. They're only $50, so you can buy one of those. I'll make one for you. They're little posters with your little meme information, all sorts of stuff. Anyway, get to all that. You can see it on my Facebook page. I'll post it. So we'll post this video and tune into this. In the meantime, thank you so much. Take care, and be sure to do some research on technology in your area. Learn about free technology, and I will come back next week with information as to how I have learned on Nope, that's not what it's called. It is called Code Academy. I'm thinking about Create Space. I'm tripping. Code Academy, where I'm learning how to do Ruby. And then I'll be learning how to do Ruby on R2 and build robots. So we'll get to that later in the future. And I want to thank everybody for joining me. I am super sleepy because I'm babbling. But I still got to do work. So I'm going to go eat dinner, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to get grinding again. And I'm going to do a salute to everybody on Facebook. Please connect with each other if you're not connected already. And thank you again, Farries, for your first time joining me. And everybody else who's now a regular, I really appreciate your support. And I'm going to tag you, okay? Thank you.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Take care. Good night.
Night.
Cute.
Right. I'm about to be a producer in the next show.
The next show is the future. All right, we're out of here. Thank you, everybody. I'll do some information, type it in, and put it out tomorrow.
Just make sure you get all the websites that was on your Facebook.
Oh yeah, I'll have to watch it and come back and watch it about 3 times. I can get it all put in there. All right, thanks, LaDonna, and you stupid. And this has been the Tech Socialite.
That's it.
Bye.
See you next time. Right. We'll get it right. We'll get it right.
You silly.
That's the
I'm
main.
glad I turned that off. You gonna keep playing with the buttons. I did the same thing. There's a video where you